wonder. I mean, I think he would probably still say no to North Carolina.
But he is an Indiana guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to say no to Indiana.
I think he has a great gig. 2 names to watch. And according to Jeff Goodman, one name they should hire but probably will not because they haven't been making good coaching hires.
This is Indiana.
Mick Cronin was asked about it after the loss. Minnesota beat UCLA, by the way.
Right.
Upset last night in L.A. Mick Cronin was asked. He says, a lot of positives here in Los Angeles. I like it here in California. So he didn't say no, but he was basically, I'm happy where I'm at. And then, of course, Dusty Mays, an Indiana grad, his first year at Michigan. Michigan's good. They will target him. Jeff Goodman says they won't be smart enough. I'm paraphrasing, but basically he's hinting that Indiana won't be smart enough to go after this guy. But Grant McCasland at Texas Tech wins everywhere he goes. He'd have more resources at Indiana than Texas Tech usually has, at least more tradition. The NIL world may be changing with Texas Tech, but
they're going to have to knock on some doors. So
Well, I will say this in KenPom: Houston's your top-ranked Big 12 team. You know who's second?
Texas Tech.
Yeah. I mean, Alabama 6. We just mentioned Wisconsin 7. Texas Tech is 8.
Yeah.
In front of Iowa State and Arizona, you find Texas Tech.
And I think he was really good at North Texas. I forget where he was. Also, another stop along the way. Really good basketball coach. But he's one of those guys that Goodman sort of hints that just not sexy enough for a program like Indiana to go get.
And Mike Woodson
was sexy?
Because he had an NBA history and I guess something else.
Well, he had played there.
Yeah.
I mean, you hired one of your own. This is one of the, as you mentioned often, one of the challenges of hiring one of your own. And that was one of those deals that I always say, if Mike Woodson had never played in Indiana, he wouldn't be the Indiana coach.
No chance.
I don't know why you hire people that way.
And Brown will end with the fact that Texas Tech, their big NIL guy, had a pretty good day.
I want to get his name real quick. So, Lance, do you remember this story we talked about, the NIL guy at Texas Tech that owned Double Eagle Oil?
Cody Campbell?
Cody Campbell is his name, and he founded their NIL. And we mentioned he owned Double Eagle Oil. We were joking. I bet it was oil money. We looked it up. Double Eagle Oil and Petroleum. Sold yesterday for $4.1 billion. This guy founded the Texas Tech NIL. If I'm Joey McGuire...
I mean,
guns up, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll be a challenge to see if you can build a program on NIL in a place like Lubbock, Texas.
You could buy him a new horse, a new double team.
Yeah, but $4.1 billion, if that's what you sold for, now you're out of the oil business. I don't know if I'm giving all my money to NIL at that point.
Dude, if you gave $100 million to NIL,
then I've only got $4 billion left.
You've got $4 billion left.
Got to get creative on the tax write-off.
Yeah. All right, that's the show. We're back with you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, to react to the games with these guys. Reaction with Taylor tonight at the conclusion. Whichever game ends last, Auburn or Alabama, will be on after the conclusion of the last game tonight on our video platforms with the basketball show. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, NFL free agency, the good news on why you can Netflix and chill if you're NFL teams. We'll get to that coming up a little bit later in the show. Baseball actually starts spring training today, even though it is wind chill 0 where we sit in Birmingham, Alabama. All the college football talk about the SEC and the Big Ten ruining everything. That's moving forward. We'll talk about that today, but we start with basketball, where we always do. And we'll start with what was considered to be the biggest game in the country last night. Number 4, Alabama on the road at number 15, Missouri. We talked about the potential of Alabama losing this game on the show yesterday. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, that if Alabama was going to lose this game, we thought it would look like that.
Nope.
110 is it's almost like an NBA All-Star game defense.
Yeah, I did a video for Taylor yesterday, and I thought it would be frenetic. I thought there would be a lot of scoring. Just you look at Alabama now, their 5 losses, they're giving up right at 90 points per game in those 5 losses. So typically when Alabama loses, even when they win some of these track meets. But for Missouri to go for 110 points in 40 minutes of basketball, that's insane.
Yeah, let me start with the fact that I said I thought Alabama would win, so I could not have been more wrong.
Lance'sLock.com, Missouri -1.5.
And Lance went the other way, so he could not have been more right.
Yeah, Jim's always fading Alabama. Another money line winner last night.
So do you just play against them every game?
I do, and obviously it has not worked for a profit. No, the games that are up in the air.
Yeah.
Again, you watch Alabama play. That was a bad defensive performance. I mean, there's no other way around it. When you give up 110, I don't know what else you could say, but that was just awful, awful defense.
Yeah, Brown, it was historic last night. It was January 13th, 1990 is the last time someone scored, last time Missouri scored 110 in a conference game. It's only the second time in the last 30 years that a team scored 110 in regulation against a top 5 team. 30 years.
I knew after the time we had time to watch the majority of the game at Odie's. Then we get in the car, we're listening to a good bit of it, and then I got home and I still had like 15 minutes to watch.
I know that game was about 2:40, I believe.
But when it was wrapping up, all I could think about was the biggest narrative coming out of this game is Alabama's defense isn't good enough to win them a championship. And look, they've only got 5 losses, but I think it's a fair point. When you get to a tournament, and after that first round game, they are going to have to play 5 quality opponents if, in fact, they were to win a national championship. And can the defense hold up through a gauntlet like that?
There are Alabama fans in the MyBookie.ag chat and on social media that discredit the graphic we send out, the Ken Palm graphic that has been true, by the way, every year since 2002. So it's kind of hard to discredit something that has been true that long, every single year since 2002.
Yeah, every year you bring it up, I'm like, maybe this is the year.
Yeah, and it's never the year. And
the only thing I don't like about it is that it continues through the NCAA tournament, through the championship.
You know
game.
what? That one and the NFC East, believe it or not, 20 straight years of a different champion each and every year.
That is bizarre right there in the NFL.
I hear you bring that up occasionally. I forgot about that one. That's crazy.
That one and that one are both pretty. I mean, the NFC East probably crazier, but still, I mean, those numbers are what those numbers are.
So for those that don't know the stat, in the Ken Palm adjusted offense, you got to be top 40 offense, top 25 defense. And there's a reason those numbers are there. I mean, that's the type of defense that's required. It's not that Ken Palm's got some sort of magic formula. It's just that you got to be that good defensively to win a national championship. And Alabama today, I don't know. I think they were 39 going into yesterday. Good Lord knows how much they must have dropped after that. After that performance last night, they are 46th. So, not as much as you might think, only 7 spots. But they've got – I only say that to say –
Well, I would say when you've got as many data points this deep in the season, 26 games in, to drop 7 points off of one game, that's a big drop.
I would just say that to say to further emphasize what Lance is saying right there is Alabama does not have the defense necessary currently to win a national championship. They didn't last year either, by the way, and made it to the Final Four. This is not a Final Four stat. This is a national. At some point, you're going to have to lean on the defense that's a top 25 defense to win a national championship.
But their defense was different in the NCAA tournament last year. They played better defense.
It was definitely better.
They played better defense, and you don't know if at some point they'll play better defense or just luck into playing somebody on a bad shooting night or something. But it was horrible last night. 110-98. But what was horrible, cut one, Tyler, what was horrible was they have not led now in 80 minutes. I'm just shooting off the top of my head.
No, you're
they
right.
haven't led in 80 minutes of game time.
They haven't led since Austin, Texas.
It was 9-0 out of the gate against Auburn, and then I'm and Neville getting ready to watch Auburn go. And as I turn on my iPad here, YouTube TV, Alabama, Missouri, earbuds in. It's 12-0.
Did this game start at 7:30?
12-0. Timeout, Nate Oats. Here's Nate on just another freaking slow start.
Obviously not one of our better defensive games. You got to give them a bunch of credit. They came out ready to go. You know, they started out 12-zip, scored 18 before the first media. Getting our guys ready to go is part of my job as head coach, and I didn't do a very good job of it tonight. So we didn't start the game out well, and then we didn't guard. I mean, give up 110 points. You know, you kind of look at some effort stuff. I mean, Caleb Grill ends up with 25 points, but he had 10 rebounds. I mean, he had more rebounds than nobody had more rebounds than him on our team. You know, Diabate's the only guy that had. I mean, Diabate had 10. Nobody else had more than 4. So for our entire front court to, you know, have 3 and 2, Jaron at 4, for their guard to out rebound is that bad. I just think they wanted this game a little bit more tonight, which is a little bit disappointing because we still had a lot riding on this game. I mean, we were still in full control of our own destiny with the league championship. You know, had we won out, we no longer are. And Missouri deserves a lot of credit for it.
I'm glad he brought that up about Caleb Grill because that was a career-high 10 rebounds off the bench along with his 25 points for a 6'3" guard that looked like he had just gotten out of the chair like Supercuts.
Yeah.
And I do because I wanted to bring this up before we went to that clip. You know, back to Alabama, you know, playing defense. Defense is a lot of effort. Like, there are outstanding defenders out there that play the game of basketball, and then there are guys that are so athletic that are 6'5" to 6'8", and if they get it in their head that they want to defend, they can defend. Right. And especially rebounds. I mean, to not be able to block out a 6'3" guard where he gets 10 boards off the bench,
that's amazing.
It's pretty crazy. And Alabama's been really good. I mean, you know, going into that game, they were the best team in the nation as far as rebounds.
Yeah, and it's a great point. And, you know, sometimes you'll be in a good position, a long rebound will bounce to somebody, but that wasn't the case a lot of times last night. And in the Auburn game, the fighting through a screen or switching off a screen to be in the face of a three-point shooter, it wasn't there. So now what do you do? What do you do? Because it feels very different right now
than it did a week ago
last Thursday.
Yeah. So let me say this. We've been playing these games for a long time. I would say what you guys brought up this point, I think this is probably a first. I almost would go digits to dollars on this, that a top 5 team has never played back-to-back games where they didn't lead 1 minute.
Oh, I think I would do that too.
Yeah,
they didn't have 1 second in the lead.
When you're playing 80 minutes of basketball and you're a top 5 team, what are the chances that you don't have the lead for 1 second in the game? That's almost impossible.
It really
back-to-back
is.
games.
It really is, and you score almost 200 points combined in those 2 games too, by the way.
Yeah. This is a wake-up call. You'll see how Alabama bounces back. Like, if you don't see their best defensive effort on Saturday, there's a problem.
But see, Taylor and I were talking about this in our postgame last night. There's no, as Seth Greenberg called them, there's no rocking chair game coming up.
Correct.
Because Missouri's number 15 in the country, and we'll give them their love here in a second. I avoided saying flowers there for your benefit. We'll talk how good they are in just a second. But now here comes Kentucky, and then down the stretch here you've got Mississippi State, who may be playing their best basketball. Then you got Tennessee. Then you got Florida. Then you got Auburn. And whoever I said after the Auburn game, I told somebody, I said, I'm not sure Alabama wins any other game in the regular season. And people are like,
that is an overstatement.
Would that take them to a 3?
I think it would take them to a 3.
That's an overstatement.
I mean, you can't lose 7 consecutive games.
But the schedule is that tough.
You
could do it, yes.
Well, look, let's just go through it. Against Kentucky, they're probably at home a 6-point favorite. Mississippi State, maybe 6-7 point favorite. Tennessee,
Kentucky's
they're a dog.
Is their easiest game left?
Yeah. Florida, they're probably 2-3 point favorite, and at Auburn, they're a dog. So, of these next 5 games, they're going to be underdogs. The highest they're going to be is a 6-point favorite, maybe. So, yeah, these are all really losable games.
Oh, they're all losable games.
Now,
they're not going to lose them all.
I don't think they will.
No,
Now, they played like they did last night, they will.
They are not going to lose them all.
Yeah.
They're not, Jim. They're not going to lose them
By the
all.
way, Missouri is.
Digits to dollars?
Digits to dollars. I didn't know we had started that game.
Yeah. It's a good T-shirt, though.
Yeah, when I was a kid, Bill Hagler at
Bloody finger dripping onto cash.
I lost.
Digits to dollars, the bloody finger
a guy
onto
named
cash.
Bill Hagler, when I was a kid, TV 40 over in Anniston before it merged with 33 to create 3340. There was a TV 40 in Anniston, a CBS affiliate. And Bill Hagler used to do dialing for dollars.
Yeah.
And
Tom York in Birmingham.
Oh, did he? Yeah. And so Bill Hagler would take the phone book and it would say, 8 from the top, $300. And he'd count down 8 and he called you. If you answered, you won $300. Hey, this is Bill Hagler dialing for dollars.
That's when people used to be able, in a wholesome, world, you answer the phone and you weren't getting shaken down.
Yeah, you always had some granny that was at
Somebody
home.
was at home
Yeah.
to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Sometimes they weren't. It was just ring.
Yeah.
No answer today. Pot goes up to $75
Hey,
tomorrow.
what did you guys think when Dennis Gates gets on the mic with a second half and says,
okay, here's the question.
Okay.
I thought that was really, really interesting.
Never seen it in my life.
Yeah.
More embarrassing to have the court or field rush on you or have the opposing coach to get on the mic to say, please don't rush the field or court.
To have time to set this up.
Call it a timeout to do it.
Yeah.
Call it a timeout to do it. Is this, I mean, I haven't seen Dennis Gates comment on this, and I guess he did post-game, and that's on me for not looking it up. But
no, he did.
He did?
Yeah.
I just assumed this was fine related, right? It's like, why are we going to give Alabama $250,000 for their basketball NIL?
We want to, we need that money for us, not for them.
Yeah,
was his quote.
So, when we talk about how this fine system doesn't work, that's a little bit, there's evidence that it does, at least in basketball. Like, a coach in the heat of a game, now the game was over at that point, but in the heat of the game, a coach has the presence of mind to say, that $250,000 matters. Let's don't just piss it away so students can have fun. Calls a timeout, gets on the microphone, and says, don't rush the court.
I still thought for a second they were going to rush.
I did too. I definitely watched to see,
He did too. As he was shaking hands, he was looking.
I understand why he did it. It was a weird look, but back to your point, I mean, that is a kick to the balls.
Oh, it is. It is. That you're beating a team so bad you can call timeout to tell them.
I mean, it's the equivalent of, we always bring it back to football, Nick Sheridan leaving the coach's box in Baton Rouge. They completely cleared out. I mean, that's kind of what this is like. Like, you just don't see things like that.
That was an absolute flex there. Tyler, give me cut number 3. Let's hear from Dennis Gates, because this Missouri team is number 15 in the country.
Very good team.
And they were a very good team. Auburn handled them maybe about as good as anybody in the opening game in conference play back on January the 4th. And some Auburn people last night, as they were walking by and they would see my screen and see the score on it, they were like, man, I knew when we played them, Missouri was going to be a good basketball team. And here we are. They're a good basketball team. Remember, as LT brought up a couple of times this week, 0-18 last year in conference play, Missouri, and he's done this, bringing in some more talent and just doing a heck of a job coaching there at MIZZOU. Here's Dennis Gates.
Whenever you can score 110 points in a game, no overtime, it says we're continuing to take the steps we need to take one at a time, and I'm proud of the direction we're going in as it relates to getting better. I still don't think our team has played its very best, and they would say the same. But we're going in a direction, steady, slowly, patiently, and we're not leaving details behind, and you can see our team growing.
Give me 1 second. You throw a goatee on him. Who is he?
Dennis Gates or
Yep.
Caleb Grill?
You guys aren't going to know this poll.
I don't know if Caleb Grill could grow a goatee.
I think it's Romany Malco, the kid that was in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Okay.
He was in Weeds. Pull up 40-Year-Old Virgin. I mean, it is him spot on if you put a goatee on him.
Letz's memory of random bit actors is amazing to me. Like the names. You could throw
Well,
out
y'all have seen 40-Year-Old Virgin, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you remember the bro that was just out chasing tail nonstop.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is Dennis Gates.
Look, the bottom left one. Wait, Tyler, you missed it. Yeah, that one. Yeah, right there. No, the composite one. That's him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There's Missouri coach Dennis Gates.
So there you go. If he ever has a biopic made after him.
When they make the movie about this Missouri team.
Hey, I do think they're going to be a tough out. Back to what you said against Auburn. That is, we talked about their losses yesterday, all quad one, quality losses, and their only double-digit loss the entire year was to Auburn.
Yeah, so for Missouri, they do it sort of the way Alabama likes to do it. Alabama sort of got beat by their own mirror image. Nobody gets to the rim. Very few teams get to the rim as good as Missouri does. They are great at getting fouled. I think they're number one or very high in KenPom on drawing fouls, getting to the line, and they shot the three pretty good last night as well.
If I told you, though, they scored 110 points, you would have immediately said, good Lord, how many threes did they hit? And it was only 9. I mean, when you score 110 points with only 9 made three-pointers.
Alabama hit more threes?
Yeah, Alabama hit 13. I mean, 13. Alabama really wasn't that bad for me on the arc. 13 to 31. You can live with that.
So, we were obviously doing trivia, so we could only watch so much. But when you have 50 fouls called and 68 free throws.
That's why that game went till 10:40.
Was it tough to watch?
It was not a great watch, no. I mean, the difference is you're watching Auburn and Arkansas at the same time. I'm watching them down below me from my seat, and I'm watching everyone get hacked. And with 6 minutes and 34 seconds to go in the second half on the road, Arkansas had 0 team fouls.
Arkansas had to foul twice just to get Auburn in the bonus when they were trying to extend the game, which I found amazing because that's not Calipari basketball. Generally, Calipari basketball, you have fouled enough.
But their defense was working. I'm just saying that I don't understand how you know how to play as a player, because I'm watching one game where you are having to draw blood to get a foul. I mean, Arkansas with 0 with 6:34 to go in Neville Arena. Meanwhile, Missouri at home shoots 47 free throws, 31 of 47 from the free throw line. Nobody pays to watch free throws. But my question would be, was that just Alabama's sloppy defense?
I don't know, man. When you're more than doubling up what your opponent shoots from the line, you always get the occasional additional call at home.
But that's getting to the rim. I mean, they were at the rim, and it's either easy to or hack them, see what happens.
Some criticism of Grant Nelson and Jaron Stevenson in the mybookie.ag chat room.
Grant did not have a good game.
Just back-to-back games, Grant has not had a good game.
Almost fouled out.
I can't really judge defensively. I let Nate talk defense, but I can look at the box score and Grant. I think he only shot five times.
Yeah,
I don't think he shot any threes.
18 minutes, and that might be a season low.
No threes, 8 points, 4 fouls, 1 turnover.
Yep. And by the way,
3 boards.
Youngblood in back-to-back games hasn't really been great offensively.
Yeah, 7 points last night for Youngblood.
Yeah,
and only 2 boards.
So I mean.
He was cold from beyond the arc, 1 of 7 from beyond the arc.
Go back and look at Auburn. I think that was the same situation where he wasn't good behind the three-point line.
Yeah, but if I just would have told you Alabama scores 98 and Sears goes for 35.
Oh, yeah. All you needed to tell me was Sears goes for 35, and I would have said, dub.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah, and only 4 second-half turnovers. Now, the 10 turnovers in the first half, I mean, look, that did get them in a hole.
Yeah, it did. And that's the deal. And that was why I played the Nate Oats
And I think those
earlier.
are your 2 things you worry about, Dunaway. I think you worry about turnovers and you worry about just lack of effort defensively.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, turnovers are pretty sloppy too. I mean, it's one of these things get your shit together.
And the slow starts, man. I mean, you're battling back all day long against Auburn after the 9-0 start. It's like that you never made up that 9-0 start. And then last night, 12-0, it was like you never made up 12-0. What was it, 79-73? At one point, Alabama had cut it to 6, and what happened? Just like
9-0 run.
9-0 run from Missouri.
Well, I mean, you say Alabama never overcame the 12-0 run. It was 110-98. Do the math.
Yeah.
12-0 run.
12-0
It
run.
was 98-98 after that run.
Go back and look at the Auburn final.
Yep.
9 points.
Hey,
That's
they
9-0 run.
need
That's right.
a title sponsorship for that arena because that's a pretty good fan base.
Yeah, it was loud last night.
No, see,
they're
that's
fired up.
That's just it. That's why you almost let them rush the court, because according to everybody I was reading that follows Missouri, that was the best home atmosphere they've had since they joined the SEC.
Well, they got 2 top 5 wins this year at that place.
And think about it. Now, SEC games, I think they've obviously played Kansas there, who's a big rival. But
you know what they are this year? They're Arizona State in football or Indiana.
Yeah.
But you know what this is going to do is it's not going to do anybody any favors moving forward, because you'll look at this and you'll be like, okay, Missouri's never been to a Final Four in the history of their program, but they went from not winning a conference game to, hell, who knows, by the end of the year, they might be a top 10 They were talking last night on the broadcast, they could end up being a 3 seed. I think they are a 3 seed right now, but maybe they could work their way into a 2 seed.
We'll talk to Jon Sundvold, former Missouri Tiger, also on the call last night, coming up in the next segment, to the Auburn game after Brownie tells us about our friends at ImageCraft.
Yeah, ImageCraft, if you print, just like this right here, Jim.
Yeah.
If you print just like this, and
What about
you're
this right here?
just like that right there, Jimmy D prints a lot. In fact, ImageCraft's the perfect sponsor for you, as much ink as you use over there.
Well, maybe I could work out a deal with them
I
to
just thought of
send
that.
these to me every week.
Yeah, no doubt. Car dealerships print a lot. Mortgage companies, real estate offices, banks, schools, pharmacies, universities. If you print a lot, you know you burn through printer and copier supplies very quickly. Well, ImageCraft is here to help you because they specialize in low-cost printer and copier supplies. All the brands, HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, Xerox, all right there at ImageCraft, where you print more and spend less. They are in Trussville, near the Pinnacle Shopping Center on Gadsden Highway, but they ship anywhere in the Birmingham Metro, free same-day delivery on all in stock, and they have free shipping outside the area. Use the code TNR for 10% off in the store there. TNR10 online at imagecraft.net gets you 10% off. ImageCraft and imagecraft.net. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed, office supply companies have all dried up. We are in an office supply desert here where we live. You have to go a long way to walk into, an Office Max or a Staples. And I get tired of going to other places that aren't in the ink and printer business.
Yep.
Big box places.
Uh-huh.
It's good to have a place like
ImageCraft?
like ImageCraft there. Auburn wins last night, number 1 team in the country, 67-60 over Arkansas. 40 seconds left. Arkansas is only down 2, and then a rebound where 2 guys are fighting for it. They lose it out of bounds, and Auburn outscores them 8-2 in the final few minutes to get the win. Here's Bruce Pearl, cut number 4 from last night, and Auburn looked a little tired. I know they had extra day of rest coming off the Alabama, but you just can't play your A-plus game every night. You played a C-plus game last night and beat an Arkansas team, a desperate Arkansas team, by 7 at home. Here's Bruce Pearl.
Our offense left a lot to be desired tonight. Our execution wasn't very good. I don't think our shot selection was great. When you only have 11 assists and 12 turnovers, I don't think we shared it as well as we have been. And
Shared it.
But our guys competed. They did not let the fact that we weren't making shots and playing well offensively, affect their defense. Holding Arkansas to 60 points is significant. At the same time, I'm sure John, probably they missed they had a bunch of good looks. They had some open shots that if they go down, it's a different outcome. So
yeah, same thing for Auburn. They had open shots and they were rattling in and coming out. Just one of those nights for both teams shooting, good defense from both. And what's your thinking?
Well, look, Auburn's bench 33-8. They outscore Arkansas. They out-rebound them 42-29. Those were kind of the things that jumped out. Chaney Johnson, another big game. You asked Stephen Pearl a couple of days ago, most improved player, and he was like, by far, Chaney Johnson's not even close. He continues to have quality minutes for the Auburn Tigers. And, as good as the shooting was in spots in Alabama, Missouri, it was that bad last night. I mean, a combined 7 of, what do we have here, 43 from 3?
I wondered how Saturday's game, if it would impact either team or both teams. Even though they won, I feel like it impacted Auburn more than it did Alabama.
Yeah.
I feel like Auburn's performance was more indicative of the outcome of Saturday's game and the fog, the layover from that, more so than Alabama's
It looked like a hangover. Alabama's didn't look like a hangover.
No, Alabama's looked like a team that was just red hot. Alabama didn't particularly play great defensively.
Alabama looks like they've lost their confidence. Auburn looked like we're not taking the night off, but we can't go back to where we were on Saturday.
There is no doubt. If you look at both, and obviously Auburn wins the game, so there's something to be said for that. It is pretty crazy. They never had a double-digit lead. But if you look at Auburn and Alabama's performances, Auburn, I think you shrug it off and you're just like, they definitely were flat.
You're checking the boxes now.
Alabama, I think you are concerned.
Well, it's 2 bad defensive performances in a row for Alabama, and that's your concern there. And you're late in the season to say, it's fixable. I mean, sometimes you start who you are.
That's right. You just have to adjust to that and go win games like you were
Right.
with a defense that's not the best in the country.
Yeah.
You got to adjust to who you are and go do it.
And Auburn was the beneficiary, though Arkansas was a hungry team. I mean, Alabama had to have that emotional loss and then go on the road to Missouri. That was doing nobody any favors. Win or lose the Auburn game, the same exact thing could have happened to Alabama last night. Auburn was the beneficiary of catching Arkansas there. Though they're a hungry Arkansas team, Auburn's a far better team than Arkansas.
Absolutely. So that's the night last night. Kentucky beat Vandy 82-61. That was your SEC. Other basketball coming up throughout the show. We'll get back to the Auburn win. Chad Baker Mazara coming off the bench last night. All that coming up on the show. Jon Sundvold talks a little basketball with us from the SEC Network on the other side as well. Show being brought to you by Lance'sLock.com. He gave you a winner with Missouri last night. What winner is he going to give you tonight? Maybe he'll give you a play in the huge North Alabama Lipscomb battle for first place in the A-Sun.
It's crazy. I gave out 13 plays a lot on Wednesday. It was a big board, though. There were just a lot of quality plays, I believe. We ended up going 8-5, but there were 4 games that came down to a half point down the way. I was telling Brown this.
That's frustrating.
Half point.
Yep.
Basketball is just one of those, just be prepared.
Yep.
It comes down to the last second. It's a lot of fun. But 8-5 last night. Free winner coming up today. More college hoops out there for you at Lance'sLock.com. Brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Whether you experience any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to rhoback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings, or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money. As we all know, there's no off season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Seriously, tonight in basketball, that UNA Lipscomb game, not joking, it's for battle first place in the ASUN, 7 o'clock. In-state team versus familiar face, and we'll talk more about that game coming up. And only ranked team tonight in action, Maryland at home to USC. But last night, I don't know if it was a shocker, but the way it played out in Columbia with Alabama losing as underdogs, but losing at that rate, 110.
That's a lot of points to give up. Jon Sundvold saw every one of them on the SEC Network last night. He is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Welcome in, John. Hope you're doing well today.
I'm doing great. Good morning. It's cold as hell in Columbia, Missouri.
It is in Birmingham, too.
Hell.
Cold in Birmingham,
too. We've already seen snow this morning, John.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did. Now it's zero. It's zero here. -5 when you drive by a bank, but cold. Man, cold.
Yeah.
I'll use the terrible announcer transition. The shooting wasn't cold last night for Missouri last night, John.
Was it not unbelievable for a collegiate game? Honestly, the atmosphere was fabulous. Missouri's got a great team that a lot of people don't realize. Mizzou people know. And then there's a couple things. For Missouri to play as well as they did, but Alabama never left, right? They never left. That first half, there were either 4 or 5 possessions, shot clock winding down, that Alabama made a shot at the buzzer of the shot clock that if you don't make those 4 or 5, the thing's at 25 points. But it never got away from Alabama. And that's what I marveled at. As well as Missouri played, Alabama's still there, and they got within 6. And then Missouri, there's a timeout. Mark Sears is going crazy. Alabama bench is going crazy right across from us. You can see the emotion. And then they come out of a timeout, and boom, boom, boom. Missouri's got 7 straight points, and you're back to 13. So, it was a great night. I had a great seat to watch it. That's for sure.
John, obviously Alabama's a really good team, but the obvious question coming out of this game now with 5 losses, in those 5 losses, they're giving up an average of 89.6 points per game. Obviously, the 110 last night. Is this defense good enough to win a championship?
Well, when you say it like that, you'd say no. But championships are won by the opponents you play on that road to that championship game. Does that make sense? It's if you're matched up with teams that can't score, like Missouri or Kentucky or Auburn, now you're thinking, well, you're going to get someone like that. Not necessarily. Maybe you find defensive teams like A&M or Houston or the likes that don't score the ball at a high rate. So I don't think it's automatic that they can't win it. The challenge I saw, and I said it maybe at the start, I probably said it 2 or 3 games, the physicality of the guards that I think Auburn has and that Missouri has. Their guards are stronger and more physical. I think that takes its toll on a team like Alabama. That I love Mark Sears, but he's 6'1", and I think that's stretching it. Aiden Holloway's a $175 maybe. So I thought Auburn's guard pushed them around. I think Missouri's guards pushed them around. And I think there's a challenge right there when you rarely think of a backcourt being physical or not as physical. But I think that's a challenge, what I saw last night for Alabama. They've got to shore that up. I don't know how you do that this time of year. But, again, who you play when you get to the tournament and how they play, Alabama's still fine. They're a great team. But matchups could happen.
Listen, I know the ceiling is the ceiling, but for this Missouri team today, everyone's going to be talking about what they could do in March. What could this team do? Do they have the DNA, the makeup to make that kind of run to the Final Four?
I do think they're a Final Four type team. Could they win it all? Yeah, it's their progression this year. So let me go back. Their first game, okay, you lose every conference game a year ago, right? And so there's no way you're going to be picked to be a good team. That's just the way it is. You add a 2-year starter at Duke. Anybody that starts 2 years at Duke is pretty damn good. That's Mark Mitchell. They changed his game a bit different than he was playing at Duke, much more aggressive. You got a kid like Caleb Grill, who's now 24 years old. He played 4 years of college basketball before he transferred last year to Missouri. He only played 9 games last year. That was his grad year. So now he's 24, so he's back. That's new. You get a point guard like the Perkins kid from Iowa, who was all Big Ten point guard, now his grad year. You add all these pieces, and you start thinking about, okay, their first game of the year against Memphis, and Memphis is really, really good. Missouri's up 14. Second half, 10 to go, and they get beat by 13. Like they just got ambushed. They turned it over. It was ugly. But I was watching the game thinking, damn, Missouri's pretty good. Like they've got a lot of pieces. And what the progression has been and what I've seen is not only the game they played at Auburn was the first game of the SEC. They weren't that good. Auburn just smacked them. But from that point on, what they've done, Missouri's done defensively, they're good. They've got bigs. They're deep. They'll go 9, 10 deep. They've got enough scores that can get 25 on any given night. There's 4 or 5 guys that have scored over 25 points. Now the progression is they went on the road and absolutely handled Florida, which I think Florida is one of the best teams in the country. I mean, they ended up winning by 1, but they were up 18 at Florida. And so, yeah, they've got all the goods to make any kind of run. What teams give them problems? A Texas A&M. That Texas A&M gives everybody problems. They hold you, grab you, tackle you, and they beat Missouri at a buzzer shot. So I think maybe last night, and those who finally got to see Missouri play would say, "Hey, this is another one of the teams." I look at the SEC and say, "Okay, Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Missouri are the 4 best that can make the deepest run."
Jon Sundvold with us, SEC Network. He was the analyst on the game last night. You know, Alabama has struggled with turnovers, and they haven't really fixed that. They've struggled with defense at times. As you said, you are what you are kind of this time of year, but they've struggled recently at finishing at the rim. Why does that? Is that something that just kind of crops up in a season like that?
I think what teams are doing with Alabama is making them finish.
Yeah.
And what I say, a lot of times Alabama is a team that likes to go in, get to the paint, and what their terminology is, they like to spray it out, kick it out. So let's say you have smaller guards. And though he was brilliant last night, and he's been brilliant most of his career, Mark Sears, if I'm a defensive coach, if I'm an opponent's coach, I want Sears to finish at the rim with the long hand coming at him. I want any of their bigs to finish. What they love to do is let your defense sag, help from the weak side or whatever you want to call it, and then they kick it out and shoot open threes. I think what teams are doing now is like saying, hey, if they drive it, we're going to challenge them with 1 or 2 guys, but we're not sagging from all kinds of angles. Stay on shooters outside. Make Mark Sears make tough 2s, bang him a little bit, wear him down, and make any of the bigs like Nelson, make them finish with defense in your face instead of letting them kick out and get open threes and having your defense chase them around. I saw that with Auburn. I thought I saw that with Missouri last night, is saying, okay, they're going to drive it, and we're just going to play them. And if they make great shots around the rim, but challenge them. And I think those shots are a lot more difficult.
You've played a lot of basketball. You've watched a lot of basketball. When Dennis Gates comes over, calls a timeout, a second half, please don't rush the court. Have you ever seen anything like that?
You know, I've not. I don't know for exactly if the students were coming down or not. I don't know if it was pre-planned. Have no idea. Good move in the fact that we've had enough court storming things. I'm not against them if they get teams off the floor and then let students have fun on the court. I'm not against it. I know there's big fines and big charges by the SEC, but I've not seen it. As I was sitting watching, I didn't know what he's doing. He kept telling the ref, I want to call timeout with 1 second left. And then he did it. The students booed. Again, I don't know if they were coming or not. I didn't anticipate they were going to rush the floor, but a good call by him. Then it allows Alabama players to get off the floor, shake hands, do your thing, and move on. So not a bad idea.
And you don't cut a $250,000 check on top of all of that.
To Alabama's NIL.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, he is Jon Sundvold. You can follow him on social media at Jon Sundvold and see him throughout the season on the SEC Network, as you did last night with Bama and Missouri. John, thank you very much for the time. We greatly appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a great day. Appreciate
All right,
it.
you too. Good talking with you. John with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
We'll get to football coming up in the 10 o'clock hour and back to basketball after that. 4 downs in a second. Before we get to 4 downs, though, I want to tell you about our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living, your opportunity now to jump in and enjoy food a different way. I got meal replacements or protein bars that hold me over to where I get down to Auburn last night. I can meet friends and have a great meal at the depot. Great filet and potatoes and some maple carrots and a wonderful bread pudding for dessert because I'd been smarter the rest of the day. It's just one of the plans Leslie and her board-certified team has for you at aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. Get the details there. There's no contracts. There's no sign-up fees. And that first consultation is absolutely free. They've got meal replacements. They got the protein bars that I use all the time, injection therapy for you there, anything, so many different things that I don't even name here that they can help you out with weight loss, getting cholesterol right, and so much more. So our friends at Way to Wellness, planforme.com. And also our friends at Slice that bring you the 4 downs.
Yeah, 5 great locations. Stop in for lunch or dinner. Get into the Bajalia Brothers local pizza, local ingredients from the Soul Pie, the Hot Mama, the Wing and a Prayer. You're going to absolutely love it. To view that entire menu, go online today. Go to slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Kurt Cobain would have been 58 today. Do you have a favorite member of the 27 Club?
Ooh, I'll have to look.
Yeah,
here.
I got
Amy Winehouse,
Jimi Hendrix,
Morrison.
Jim Morrison.
I think Janis Joplin, maybe.
Yep.
I probably would go Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, Cobain right now of the ones you named.
I mean, the most interesting was probably Morrison to me.
Joplin is in there. I'm looking at a list here.
Jim Morrison. Who's Brian Jones? I don't know who that is.
Boy, there are a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean,
Man, this is a
when
long
you turn
list.
28
Yeah.
in the music industry.
Wow. The 27 Club goes deep. You know, I was Nirvana hit right when I was in high school there, Tyler. I liked them. I can't say that I was a huge fan. I vividly remember the day Kurt Cobain died and how sad a lot of people were. We used to have this thing called, I might be incorrect about all this, but I'm almost certain I'm right. We had this thing called Channel 1 in school. So they installed a TV in every classroom, and they would do Channel 1 news every morning.
Absolutely.
And it was normally just like soft news or whatever. I want to say Kurt Loder, they had some sort of agreement with MTV, and Kurt Loder actually did the story on Kurt Cobain dying on Channel 1 News that morning in school at Sachs High School. I could be wrong about that, but that's the way I remember it.
I remember it was April of 93, I think. Or April of 94?
94.
Yeah, I do remember when that went down, and I was a huge Nirvana guy. See, I think I'm kind of, I don't know. I mean, where are people right now on, when you look at Dave Grohl, do people like Foo Fighters more or Nirvana? Because I like Nirvana so much more than Foo Fighters.
I'm more of a Foo Fighters guy. Yeah.
Oh, are you? I like Nirvana more, but I was young, single, and dumb when that was really popular, the grunge look.
But I would have
I may
loved
have
to
had this
see-
shirt back then. I don't know.
And do we think Kurt Cobain was murdered?
A lot of people have pointed the finger at Courtney Love, but
it's one after I watched 2 or 3 of those documentaries, they're all numb to me. It's kind of like Biggie, Tupac, who did it.
Yeah.
Well, there was one guy. He was like a pro wrestler and also like a punk singer who normally like painted his face red, and he came out and said Courtney Love paid him $50,000 to kill Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
But
so we've got a
that
admission.
guy's words.
I think there would be a police
face value.
investigation if somebody said that publicly. I'm not aware that Seattle police have looked into that.
Yeah, but my final answer is going to be Cobain or Morrison. I'll lean Cobain.
Yeah.
I'll go Cobain.
I'll probably go Cobain, too.
Second down.
Though that Winehouse lady was really good at the music festivals in Europe. I always liked her live shows.
Amy
at
Winehouse
those-
could sing, yeah.
Yeah, at those music festivals.
Do you ever wonder, though, what would Kurt Cobain be doing if he were alive right now?
58, I would imagine he'd be doing a big tour to make money for people.
I don't think his voice wouldn't have held up.
I don't know. I don't know if they would have stayed together.
Yeah, I don't think his voice would have held up.
Miles Teller turns 37 today. What's your favorite Miles Teller performance?
It's Whiplash.
Yep.
Yeah, Whiplash was incredible. J.K. Simmons gets the love for it, but Whiplash was so freaking good, and Miles Teller was so good in Whiplash.
I think mine would be War Dogs
So
or Top
just
Gun.
instantly, when you say Miles Teller, and when I read this last night, I was like, how am I going to come up with my favorite performance with the magician in Vegas and the guy that doesn't talk?
You were thinking
Penn
and
and
Teller,
Penn and
and
Teller.
Miles Teller is the teller
Yes,
of
and
Penn and Teller.
And so he's the guy in Whiplash.
Yeah,
the
but he was
actor, the drummer.
also in Maverick, Top Gun. He was
Top Gun Maverick. He was in War Dogs, which is what I was going to say.
Law and Order for a lot of years.
Nope.
Don't know who you're thinking about there.
Probably Chris Maloney.
Normally I can translate Dunaway's brain.
I think
here.
he wasn't the psychiatrist.
I think it's Chris Maloney is who
Chris
he's looking
Maloney.
at. Yeah.
A Law and Order.
No,
psychiatrist?
J.K. Simmons was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the older dude that won the Best Supporting Actor in Whiplash.
Okay.
He was the teacher.
Okay,
Miles Teller is not the guy in the Farmers Insurance commercial.
No.
Okay, that's J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, War Dogs is so underrated.
Yeah, War Dogs is a good flick, and I like Top Gun Maverick. It had just appealed to my 80s nostalgia because I love Top Gun. When I was a kid.
Have you seen Whiplash?
I've seen parts of it. I've never seen the movie start to finish. I don't know that I would like it.
I don't know, man. It's like if you were like, okay, man, there's this movie about a guy that goes into a music school and he plays drum in a jazz band. I'd be like, no, thank you. But the characters are so good and the performances are so intense.
And the abuse of coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
J.K.
shows you
Simmons
that
is tough.
in every arena you've got that kind of stuff going on.
Yep.
Like, would you really think somebody would be that over the top in that that verbally abusive to somebody that's in a band?
No.
But
I
you
would
get that
not.
in Black Swan, right?
Yep.
In the ballet world, and
we see in sports all the time, obviously.
Never liked Black Swan.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
That was Natalie Portman?
Yeah.
Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis.
Yeah, was not a huge fan.
Like I think you expected at Marine boot camp.
Well,
and then you sort of expect it in sports because there's a lot of Marine boot camp and the way you're training a sports team. When you start getting to music and the arts, you're like, well, they're not going to have that kind of stuff in the music and the arts, but they do.
Yeah.
And I think Miles Teller's got some good stuff coming.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third down.
The movie Euro Trip turns 21 today. What's the best dumb teen comedy?
I loved them all. I do. I loved them all. Oh, you mentioned Road Trip yesterday. Funny movie.
Yeah,
with that little skinny kid when he
DJ Qualls.
Yeah.
When you go back
dancing,
and you
it's
watch
funny.
the 80s, they don't hold up. Like movies like Revenge of the Nerds and Weird Science.
Porky's I can still get a laugh out of. It's been years since I've watched it.
A teen movie I have never liked, and my youngest daughter thinks it's hilarious, is Napoleon Dynamite, and she cannot figure out why I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
I've never liked Napoleon Dynamite.
I think it's okay, but yeah, my kids absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, my 11-year-old daughter thinks it's hilarious.
I think it's a generational
It must
thing.
be, Tyler, and I am the generation that does not like
everybody
it.
my age just loves all the sarcasm in it.
Yeah, I mean, I like sarcasm. It's just I've never liked them. Do you like Napoleon Dynamite? You ever even seen it?
I have seen it.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he's going to throw the ball over the mountain?
That is correct. Yes, you got it.
Yeah, it did not resonate with me.
That guy's been on our show before, John Kreis.
Yeah,
and he's also in White Lotus. He's one of the 2 recurring members that are back for season 3.
I think
he was married to Jennifer Coolidge, and now he's with like a younger.
Yeah. That's where the LBH came up.
Yeah.
I think I would have to say, speaking of Jennifer Coolidge, in the original American Pie.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
American Pie is a good one.
That was a fantastic movie when it came out.
Yeah, all of them. I love them all.
That's not one Jim hates.
Lance watches award-winning shows.
I watch them all.
Rom-com and trashy teen comedies.
I do try.
Yes.
I watch a ton of stuff. I try to limit it. Like this guy sprays the board in Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I go out and see every movie that's in theaters, regardless of how well known it is. Just maybe I'll find a hidden gem.
That's why I'm a little surprised that you don't have like Apple, because of some of the original programming in movies like The Gorge.
I need to check out The Gorge, but I just don't have Apple anything.
I'll give you my login.
Just the stuff I don't consume. Like, for some reason, there's a horror something at the start of TikTok right now, like an ad.
Yeah.
And black stuff's coming out of their eyes and mouth. I can't hit skip fast enough. Like, if something is, if I'm on Apple TV and there's a trailer that something is intense, scary, or anything, I don't even watch the freaking trailer. Do you ever bite on, like the other day, there was this thing, watch the person swinging, and I'm sitting there watching, and then this crazy ass demonic face pops up. No, because I know it's coming.
Just absolutely scares the shit out of me. Yeah. I didn't know it was coming.
I watch trailers, and if there's a chance of me being scared, freaked out, jump scares, I don't consume it.
I think the original video with that was like an old email chain that had a car driving down this like mountain pass, and then a scary face would pop out. I remember that.
I do remember
popular
that.
Like 2005.
Yeah, Dunaway's Google is creepy, no violence.
I mean, it's no violence. It's a lot of teen comedy though.
4th down.
Happy birthday to Charles Barkley. He turns 61 today.
Yes,
if
very
you were
good.
drafting a team today, would prime Charles Barkley make your starting 5?
He would not, unfortunately, and I think it's no doubt how much this show loves Charles, and I love Charles. He is one of my favorite people in the world, but he is not one of the 5 best NBA players.
No, even if you went 1 through 5, and you've got to go a traditional 4, like to me, Tim Duncan or Karl Malone, as good as Barkley was, or even a Kevin McHale.
Yeah,
I'd have Barkley on the team though.
Oh yeah. He'd be coming off the bench.
If we had a 12-team roster to go kick somebody's butt in a international event in his prime, Barkley would be on my team.
Yeah. And you probably don't know this, Tyler, it's way before your days, but Barkley came in. It was when we were on the 2nd floor studios. I remember him talking about this. In the 1992 on the Dream Team, Chuck Daly, the former Pistons Hall of Fame coach of the Dream Team, pulled him aside and he said, "Hey, man, you know right now you are the 2nd best player on planet Earth." And, he wins the MVP the next year. But, I mean, behind Michael, to be the 2nd best of anything on planet Earth is pretty crazy. And Barkley was that guy for a second.
That changed when Daly told him that. I think that changed Barkley's – I think he got a little bit better after that.
Yeah, I think he talks about Moses Malone and what Moses Malone did for his conditioning and his professional mindset. And then I think Chuck Daly was a guy that kind of helped – get him to that next level as well.
The crazy thing is, Tyler, is if you built the all-time starting 5 from the NBA, either Wilt or Kareem is your center, and those guys do not even translate into today's game.
That's right. Barkley would actually
translates better than most of those guys.
Barkley may be one of your bigs on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, Wilt and Kareem probably aren't going to get out and guard the perimeter, and they're sure not going to shoot from out there, so they don't even really play today's game.
You think your backcourt of Magic and Jordan's going to be pretty good?
Yeah, I'll take that. Absolutely. In their prime?
Yeah, absolutely. Magic would run the point for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it
what was he, 6'9" and a half?
6'9".
Yeah.
Yeah, 6'9" point guard.
Could play all 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
question would be, would Steph make the...
I don't think he'd make your first 5, though he's the best shooter of all time.
Best shooter of all time.
Yeah. I mean, he might. The problem.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, all right, so who are you going to take away from the backcourt? So your backcourt all time is probably Magic, Jordan, and LeBron, or your 1 through 3, right?
I'm sorry.
That's what most people would say.
Yeah.
Magic, Jordan, LeBron.
I'm not taking LeBron on my team.
And then I think I would put LeBron. I would put him as my 3, as much as I don't really like him. But
but he's your 3.
Yeah,
and then
I think Duncan would be my 4,
and either Kareem or Wilt is your 5, right?
I might go Olajuwon
or Olajuwon.
Yeah.
Okay.
See,
or Shaq.
Yeah.
I'm going to need LeBron on the other team. I'm going to put Kareem on the other team because I didn't like watching Kareem. I cheered against him his whole career for no reason other than he was always so good. I always thought he was cheating that he was so good down low. I was like, once he got the basketball down low, I was like, this isn't fair. He can dunk it, or he can do this little sky hook, which is unblockable.
I would take Bird in front of Steph. Steph is the better all-time shooter.
I would take Bird.
Bird's bigger and a better defender than Steph. Steph's a traffic cone on defense a lot of times, and Bird could defend at least better than him. And what are you really, to go from Steph shooting to Bird shooting, what are you giving up?
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2 threes a game, maybe?
Not a big Larry Bird fan either.
You're not a big Larry Bird fan?
I put him on the other team with LeBron and Kareem.
What did you not like about Larry Bird?
I hated Larry Bird growing up, but I would probably have him on this team. I'd definitely have him on the team. He wouldn't be starting.
You wouldn't have Kobe? I'd have Kobe in the starting lineup.
Who you gonna bench for Kobe? Of the
LeBron,
1 through 3?
LeBron.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
LeBron, Bird. So right now I've got Kobe.
So your 1 through 3 are Magic, Michael, and Kobe. How many basketballs you gonna have out there?
Yeah, I only need 1.
Well, you think about
let them fight over it.
You could just do your starting 5 Lakers and beat anybody.
Oh no, nobody's got a better Mount Rushmore than the Lakers.
See, why I would be a horrible general manager for any sport, I would pass on talent just for people I like. Like I would rather have.
That wouldn't get you far.
I'd rather have 12 guys I like on my team than maybe the best 12 players.
Why don't you open a restaurant just things you like on the menu?
Who's Jim's I like starting 5? Give me your starting 5 of guys you like.
I mean, it's too long to go for me to think about it really, but I really like Barkley. You know that.
Okay.
Robert Horry, Buck Johnson.
Really loved Kobe. Really loved the way Magic played.
Okay, so you got Magic, Kobe,
Jordan, obviously,
Jordan, and LeBron. All right, excuse me, and Barkley. You need a center. Who's your center?
I don't have to have a center.
Okay, so you're just going to go small. So we need one more.
With that, you could go Chris Kaman with that team, and you'd be okay.
Fourth down?
That was 4th down.
That was 4 already?
Already.
Hey, get into Slice today. Slice and a salad for lunch. Pick up a couple of pizzas on your way home. You're going to absolutely love it. Created by the late Jeff Pajaya, his brothers Jason and Chris continue to celebrate his legacy. For more information, go online. Check out the menu today, slicebirmingham.com.
And our friends at New Life Art. That's where you find the great works of Daniel A. Moore. Great moments in Alabama basketball and football history, including now the celebration of Coach Nick Saban and his 6 national championships. It's available for you online at danielmooreart.com, danielmooreart.com. But when you're there, check out everything they have to offer from the New Life collection. But danielmooreart.com takes you there. Calendars year-round, other great prints, all sizes, all price ranges. I mean, if you got a gift situation coming up for an Alabama fan in your life, go by danielmooreart.com and just check it out. Use that promo code TNR. When we come back, football, what came out of the Big Ten meetings, how Greg Sankey is going to handle that. Contract extension, not deserved, but somebody got a contract extension yesterday, and we'll talk some college football. Set the table for you when we come back right here on The Next Round.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Think about the best summer nights of your life. How many of those were in a great t-shirt? Visit nextround.store to get the perfect t-shirt for the next perfect southern night. Nextround.store. The memories are waiting.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
You know, there's people last night, we were just talking about Auburn in a 67-60 game. In my local TV career, that would have been a high-scoring game and a good night.
Oh, yeah.
And some, like Anthony Grant's offenses in Tuscaloosa, when you had to go watch those.
Brutal.
So when
Tony Barbie.
Yeah. So when you sit there and you think about where Auburn is and where Alabama is, even after 2 losses, still in a very good place in basketball in this state. UAB, by the way, got a win last night as well, 90-89 over Rice. So they're still 1 game back of Memphis in the American race for the regular season championship, which really gets you nothing. They'll still need to win the tournament, but that just shows you they're in a good place when they get to the tournament. Surprisingly, Samford lost again. Furman beat them. So Chattanooga sort of has control of the SoCon. But again, for the regular season, it'll come down to the tournament. Bucky can get it right there. And North Alabama and Lipscomb tonight at 7 o'clock, battle for first in the ASUN. South Alabama, a winner last night over Arkansas State. They're in first place in the Sun Belt. So a lot of teams in our state battling for bids and spots and championships.
Hey, one quick point on LeBron, because we were talking about him last segment, because I saw it earlier this morning. I saw it again just right now. He missed a game-tying 3 with the Hornets last night to send it to overtime. He now, since joining the Lakers, has 30 shots in the final 5 seconds of a game to win or to tie the game. What do you think in those 30 shots he is?
I'm going to say 9 of 30.
We were talking about one of the 5 greatest players of all time. I'll go better. I'll say 5th. Are they all threes?
Well, no, I mean,
no, they could be twos.
They could be twos.
It's just to tie it or
15,
or win the game.
I'll go 15 to 30.
He is 1 for 29.
Get out of town. Are you serious?
He looked at me like I had 3 heads when I said 9 of 30. And then Brown's like, it's got to be better than that. He's one of the best shooters of all time.
No, I didn't say one of the best shooters. I said one of the top 5 players of all time. But I thought he was better than 1 of 29.
1 of 29.
Yeah. I mean, that even counts driving to the rim if that's the situation.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he had 2, kind of difficult shots, 2 pretty good looks, though, last night. But, 1 of 29 now.
Yeah.
Michael never would have done that, Dunaway.
No, he hit all his. Never missed.
Every one of them.
Auburn beat Arkansas last night. Bama loses at Missouri. Their first 2-game losing streak of the year. Kentucky beat Vandy last night in basketball. We go to football this hour, being brought to you by our wonderful friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. That's Greg from Pell City. A lot of rain, a lot of wind, and now freezing temperatures. You need to know if everything is in its correct place and bolted down on your roof after all these extreme weather situations. It's easy to figure that out. All you have to do is go to Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City, 205-542-3531. You may say, Jim, aren't there a lot of roofing places out there, roofing companies? Yes, they are. But here's the difference with Greg. First off, he's local, been that way for over 20 years. He's got family members actually on the crews that are going to come out. He'll give you a free no-cost roof inspection. Greg even wants to help you understand your insurance policy that has changed recently on how they cover older roofs. He's just a good local guy who wants to be a good friend forever. And so many of our viewers and listeners will say, hey, I called Greg. He came out and inspected my roof, and I was expecting, to get the pitch on, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. He came off the ladder and said, hey, man, you're good for 4 years. Call me in 4 years or 3 years, whenever you want to call me to get that new roof. He'll walk away from trying to hard sell you just to get your business when it's time for you to replace that roof. That's the way he does business. He's done it that way forever. He and his wife run the company. 205-542-3531 or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Yesterday, we started getting people walking out of this meeting between the SEC and the Big Ten, and Ross Dellinger on top of covering this. We're going to look at this a couple of ways here, but first off, how is Greg Sankey handling this? Did he come out and with a big boa on and like WWE, and he got to the microphone and started talking about, we're going to run college football? Did he start bragging? How did Greg Sankey
had
handle
a walkout song?
Yeah.
50 Cent was rapping as Sankey walked into the room.
That would have been fantastic.
Pitbull's his guy, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he says Pitbull smells pleasant.
Yeah. How did the evil man Greg Sankey taking over college football handle it yesterday?
We've all known Greg for a long time. He's a personal friend of ours, and I would say of Greg, he is very stoic. He's got a very dry sense of humor, but he's gonna, it's going to be. He'll be really good at poker. As bad as you probably are with your poker face, he would probably infinitely better with his. You admit you got a bad poker face.
I do, but I would take Greg Sankey's lunch money in poker.
Okay. I'm just saying he may not know how to play the game, but Greg would have an excellent poker face.
So even killed.
Yeah, so even killed. And he came out and didn't really tip his hand, to use a poker phrase, yesterday, and said, I am not going to comment on anything other than one thing. He did comment on one thing. I'm not going to comment on anything. I owe it to the other leagues to tell them first what we've talked about with the Big Ten before I say anything publicly. So that was it. The only thing he commented on was he said he and Tony Petitti agree that seating needs to be changed immediately.
Right.
That everyone agrees with that.
I would think so, but it requires unanimous approval from all 10 conferences and Notre Dame.
For this year.
To change it this season. And the question would be, as Ross Dellinger asked at yahoo.com, if I'm the Big 12, I just made a bundle of money by my team getting a bye. Why would I vote to change that now?
And Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Notre
Dame doesn't get a bye.
I know. That's the thing is we talked about Notre Dame. Hey, because of this island they're on, they're not going to be able to get a bye even if they're the number one team. Guess what? It didn't matter.
Yep.
And they end up playing for a national championship, and they make, $14 million on their own.
I do wonder, Dunaway, and this is something I need clarification on. I'll try to get it. If they say, okay, one through the proposal from the Big Ten and the SEC is very simple. You just take the standings.
Yep, 4 best teams.
The rankings they put out, and it's the top 4 teams. 1 through 4 get seeds. 1 through, in fact, 1 through 12.
Question, Notre Dame would be eligible at that point to get a bye.
So they could get the bye.
Yeah.
So I would think Notre Dame votes thumbs up.
Yep.
But to Lance's point, Notre Dame's like, we really don't care.
Yeah.
Either way, it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Notre Dame, like I'm looking at it, if
Yeah.
it benefits somebody more than us, that we need to do it. And I'm not saying it necessarily does, but they did play for a national
SEC and
championship
Big
last
Ten
year.
are easy thumbs up because they see a scenario. The Big Ten had it this year where they would have 2 byes.
Yeah.
Ohio State and Penn State both would have gotten a bye.
But here's the deal, Brown. Do the
Oregon
bracket.
and Penn State.
Or excuse me, Oregon. Yeah, thank you, Oregon and Penn State.
Do the bracket.
Okay.
What it would have been.
Yep.
What it would have been, and tell me it's not a better tournament,
So-
because it was the hardest thing to get used to. Is this team is the number 3 seed, but they're really ranked 6. This team's the 4 seed, but they're really ranked 9th, or whatever you ended up having. That made no sense to anybody who has a sports brain in America.
Right.
And it is better just to have the 4 top seeded teams be the top 4 teams in your rankings, and then seed the tournament that way.
So your 5-12 game would have still been Notre Dame. Keep in mind now, Notre Dame played Indiana, right? Your 5-12 game would have been, or actually, no, Notre Dame was not the 5. Your 5, yeah, that's how confusing it is. Your 5-12 game would have been Notre Dame Clemson. Better game than Notre Dame Indiana, I think. Notre Dame Clemson. At least better helmet game.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, probably same result, but
Probably.
Yeah.
Your 6-11 game would have been Ohio State hosting Arizona State. Couldn't have been much worse than Ohio State Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been a whole lot better.
Would have been about the same.
Probably about the same. Your 7-10 game would have been Tennessee playing host to SMU.
Yeah, so Tennessee's in a much better situation than having to go to
Would have won a
Columbus.
game probably.
Yeah. Would have advanced. And your 8-9 game is the worst of them. It's Indiana playing host to Boise State, but I would say Indiana-Boise State's a better game than either Boise State, Penn State, or Indiana-Notre Dame.
But it's the next round where you get what makes sense to sports minds and also rewards the regular season for Oregon. Because who would have Oregon got?
They get the winner of Indiana-Boise State.
And they deserve that.
And they deserve that. Now,
they didn't deserve Ohio State.
It's a worse helmet game than you got, which was Oregon-Ohio State.
Yeah.
But it could not have possibly been a worse game than you got. Ohio State-Oregon was a blowout.
But I have a low IQ.
Right.
Higher in sports than I am in math and science or economy. I will tell you this. Economics would be the word, Jim,
Yes,
proving
yeah.
your point. I will tell you this. If you're the only unbeaten team and you're the Big Ten champion and there's no other unbeaten team, you don't deserve Ohio State in your first playoff game. You deserve the winner of the Indiana-Boise game.
I agree.
You deserve that. You earned that.
Yeah. Georgia, as the 2 seed, would get the 7-10 winner. Georgia would have gotten the winner of Tennessee and SMU.
Seems fair.
So we would have had I guess Georgia, Tennessee. Did they play in the regular season this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Athens.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty good game. I think this one would have. I mean, Georgia lost to Notre Dame.
But we're going to get the we had the Ohio State-Oregon game in that same round.
Texas, as the 3 seed, would have gotten the they get the 6-11 winner, right? Yeah, as the 3. Is that right?
A little tougher for Texas. They would have gotten Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yep.
Texas gets Ohio State,
And
and
then
then
the 4-5.
Well, they got them anyway.
Yeah.
So
and then Penn State gets the Notre Dame and Clemson winner, which would have been a better game than what Penn State had against Boise. Again, and we knew this going in. We knew this watching it. They messed the bracket up to reward conference champions. The conference championship just carried far too big of a reward in this initial year.
It'll be different in 2026. It could change this year, but it would take unanimous votes. Here's 2 other things, though, that I think that's important. One of them, and I'll ask you this, because we're talking about playing into the championship Saturday. More on that in a second. Would you rather have these 14 playoff spots decided by a college football playoff committee or by conference standings? Would you rather have the playoff committee decide the 14 spots or your conference standings? I have no problem. And here you got to look in your face.
Well, I just need clarification. Explain what you're saying.
If I've got 2 automatic bids in the ACC, I want the ACC standings to tell me who there. I let you decide.
What if you have a 4-way tie?
Yeah,
well, you have tiebreakers. I am okay getting to what we're going to do on championship Saturdays, especially in the Big Ten and the SEC. I am okay with having no committee deciding a Big Ten or an SEC auto bid. You'll have to have these rankings for wild cards or anything else, but it's going to be refreshing to know that, okay, if I earn in the conference standings one of the top 4 seeds, however we determine to do that, I know I'm in. I don't have to sit here and wait to find out if the committee ranks me as the 4th best SEC team. I have earned it on the field. And if we go to this souped-up championship Saturday where it's 6 at 3 and 5 at 4, no belly aching that the 3 team at home couldn't beat the 6-seeded team from the SEC for the bid to the playoffs. It's an early playoff game. It's fantastic. You don't have to worry about a committee, and you just play your way in. I'm much more comfortable in the new world of college football of not having a committee decide who's the playoff teams, letting the SEC do it, letting the Big Ten do it.
And the committee just seeds it.
And the committee can just seed it at that
point.
I'm
with you, yeah.
But you play your way in through the SEC, and if you have a hard-ass conference where you've got 9-10 good teams in one season, like we're experiencing in basketball, if you have that in football, nobody's going to screw you over in a ranking system comparing you to the Big Ten or the Big 12 or the ACC. You just decide it with the SEC and you move on.
Well, let me ask this question, though. Are you guys okay? Are you okay if the SEC does this super championship Saturday that we have talked about, Clad has talked about, Pate talked about a variance of it yesterday, where in some cases 1 and 2 play for the championship, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and the 4 teams go.
Yep.
But if the ACC says, you know what, we really don't make any money off our ACC championship game, we're just going to send our top 2 teams. We're not even going to play a game on championship Saturday. Now,
that's perfectly fine.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, they
All
do it however they want.
Yeah, it's their conference.
Ivy League didn't play a conference tournament.
Right.
They may still not play for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Do it however you want to do it.
Yeah. So if the ACC just says, screw the conference championship game, it could only hurt us, we'll declare our conference champion based on tiebreakers.
Well, if we've got 4 SEC games, we don't necessarily need 2 ACC.
I'm not going to LT's point, I'm not going to watch that game anyway.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Because you know why? Because at 11 o'clock, I got Reese and them are going to say, hey, we're here in Atlanta, 1 and 2 prime time tonight. Let's send you to Knoxville, Tennessee, where South Carolina and Tennessee are about to play for a playoff bid.
Yeah,
where it's 7 versus 9.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
And then, oh, man, it was a great game. Tennessee's going to the playoffs. Great season for Shane Beamer. Before we get to Tuscaloosa for the kick of Ole Miss, Alabama, winner going to the playoffs. Remember, tonight, Georgia and Texas, both are already in the playoffs, but they play for the bye in the SEC championship. Who doesn't want that? Big Ten is not going to be as interesting. Poor Klatt. He'll get the primetime championship game unless they do something crazy and want to play their championship game at 11.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it won't be as interesting having,
Well, I just know that,
Indiana play host to, Nebraska or Iowa or whoever they would play.
I just know when we're making these decisions is one thing, but it also opens the door to later on people say, well, God, we're going to play extra games. The ACC doesn't even play a championship game. But I'm for conference autonomy. I'm like, if the ACC doesn't want to do it, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
If the SEC says we want to get the 4 best teams in there and we want to make this the most exciting product possible, that's what I'm for.
You know what the guy with abs in the gym says to me?
What?
He never looks at me and says, God, he doesn't have to do sit-ups. He doesn't have to lift weights. You know why? Because he's the best in the gym. And the SEC's the best in the gym. And the ACC's got a big, fat little little jelly belly.
That's a perfect comparison.
How's the weight training going?
It's going great, man. It's going fantastic. Bulking up. That's football, man. That's college football right there.
You think anybody at the gym recognizes him?
I'm excited.
Has this guy ever been in here?
I told you when I first went back in there. I still had the little card.
I'd
Hey,
like to
where
take
did
you
I
to-
scan this again? We're all on the app now. You just check in on the app.
Yeah.
So do you have the app?
Yeah, I do now. I didn't when I walked in with my little card, from 1988. Show being brought to you today by our wonderful friends right there at JohnsonRVCenter.com. JohnsonRVCenter.com. A chance to get a successful show in Birmingham this past week.
Yeah, they had a great show in Huntsville, a great show in Birmingham, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys supporting Johnston RV Center. You can still see them on their lots now, and some of the show pricing I'm sure will carry over. I mean, you could start as low as $129 a month with approved credit, and some of the stuff they've got there. Great fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, and RV warranty forever. Make sure you've got a lifetime warranty on anything that is new and qualifying pre-owned. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Listen, 9 games, 9 SEC games also on the table. coming out of this meeting that's being discussed. I'm for this because it's another conference game. It makes it easier when you're doing the out of conference. I hope we continue to require a one Power 4 out of conference game every year. I don't want to lose that. But I'm for the ninth SEC conference game. Now I don't have to coach it. My job doesn't depend on it. I just get to react to it and watch it. You guys in on the ninth game?
Well, I mean, there's also the reports of, and I think you guys kind of reacted to this tepidly.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
There are reports of this SEC Big Ten challenge that they're going to create.
Yeah, don't like it at all.
Like it. But think of this: if your 12-game schedule was 9 conference games, and you've got a guaranteed Big Ten / SEC, or if you're the SEC, 9 conference games and a guaranteed Big Ten game, you're going to have good schedules because I don't think they're going to just quit playing other. I mean, you take South Carolina, for instance, 9 conference games, Clemson every year out of the ACC, and a Big Ten team, if they do go through with the Big Ten SEC challenge. I mean, Clemson's got 11 games against the SEC, ACC, and Big Ten. Throw in Wofford, and that's a heck of a schedule.
You'll be okay when they play the Citadel. You'll be like, that's okay.
Georgia's the same way with Georgia Tech. It's just that Georgia Tech's not as good as Clemson, obviously.
I would tell you this, though, and I would assume if you're selling it to your TV partners to get extra money, you're not going to pair up, Alabama and Purdue and Ohio State and Vandy.
It's going to be a lot like the old SEC Big 12 basketball challenge where every year it was Kansas and Kentucky.
Yeah.
And you're like, couldn't one of these other teams go to Allen Fieldhouse once? Like, no, the TV cameras like it when Kentucky goes there.
Yeah.
So that's who we're going to send.
So, I mean, you're going to get Ohio State versus, best of the SEC. You're going to get Oregon versus best of the SEC.
That is right.
You're going to get Penn State and Michigan versus the best of the SEC.
Why do you all not like it? Why do you not like it?
Well, I just, now that we've got this playoff, I think you've got more opportunities for rematches.
Yeah. Would you do it? Could you do it? Home and away is what's going to screw this up because you're going to have an imbalance on home and road games. But you know how the NFL does, so.
This actually is going to solve your home and away problem because I would imagine I'm smart enough to do it. I know the SEC and Big Ten is. So if I've got five home games, 4 road games this year, I'm going to host my SEC Big Ten challenge. And, if I've got 4 home, 5, or however it works, I'm going to even it up in the Big Ten SEC challenge about going on the road because you're going to have like conferences and the ability to do that.
I was just going to recommend that you take the standings from the year before. So Ohio State won the Big Ten, Georgia won the SEC, so that's my game, 1 versus 2. Texas finished second, Penn State finished second. Texas is going to play Penn State.
Yeah, but then you're going to get some crap games at the bottom.
You are, but you're going to get the good TV games at the top.
That's what the Big Ten Network and the SEC Network was made for.
The crap.
Yeah, I don't know. This would have excited me so much 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily like. Would you rather have that or the 9-game schedule?
I
want both.
I want both, but I'd rather have the 9-game SEC schedule. And here's another reason why, LT, if we've got 4 automatic Big Ten, 4 automatic SEC, and we're playing the best versus the best, a good chance is that we've played the Big Ten and the SEC. So now we're going to get to the show, the playoffs, and we've seen the SEC best play each other, and they're in the playoffs. We've seen the SEC and the Big Ten play each other in this challenge, and they're in the playoffs. It seems like it'll be nothing but a lot of rematches.
Yeah. Well, and the whole reason they are talking about doing this is it creates yet another television product that they can sell. So it's going to be good versus good. I mean, you're not going to get Ohio State visiting Vanderbilt. I mean, that's just not going to happen in this.
Yeah, I don't know if there'd be an appetite for it, but it would almost be more interesting to prop up the Big 12 and the ACC with those type of challenge. Big 10 versus the ACC and the SEC versus the Big 12 and flip it around every 2 years or something. But we'll see. A lot of changing parts in college football out there. Luke Fickell gets a contract extension. Now, before you say, I believe it's 5 and 7, they do this with all coaches at Wisconsin that are retained. They get a year added onto their contract, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And you say, well, who's the last guy that not named Luke Fickell that got this? Well, Paul Chris did. And 5 games into the very next year, he got fired.
So it
doesn't mean Luke Fickell is safe. but terms they don't change. They just extended a year. It seems like to me at Wisconsin, this costs them money doing this every year.
Yeah, it seems like a dumb idea. Like Paul Chryst buyout was a little bit more because he got that year extension.
Yeah, if I'm a Wisconsin fan, I don't know what you hope for, but it seemed like football was in a really good place. Fickell seemed like a pretty good hire.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he had taken Cincinnati to the college football playoffs.
They're on a 5-game losing streak right now, and you're paying him a lot of money. You're paying him right at $8 million a year.
Well, I feel like it's a program stuck in mud, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm a Wisconsin fan, I guess I accept I'm never going to get the Barry Alvarez days back, where actually I was a Big Ten contender. But I feel like I can do better than what Luke Fickell is giving me.
I think he's 19-20, if my math's right.
It's a big year and a big period in history for Wisconsin because you don't want to become middle of the pack, Wisconsin. You want to stay up there with the Penn States, the Ohio States, the Michigans, and the Oregon.
So you think
same situation for USC? They need to sort of plant their flag on the top half of the Big Ten.
And we had been to 22 consecutive bowls until last year. After losing 5 consecutive games, they aren't bowl eligible. If I'm a Wisconsin fan, again, I go back to the Indiana model, and I'm like, hey, we're paying you a lot of money. If Indiana can do this, Wisconsin's knocked on the door before. You need to turn this thing around. And I think this is the year. If he has a bad year this year, Fickell's probably out.
So you're telling me Fickell's on the hot seat? Because I want to give you something here. Fickell's on the hot seat.
Well, I mean, here's 7-6, 5-7.
Okay. No, I think that's hot seat at Wisconsin. I think they expect more. After opening with Miami, Ohio, and Middle Tennessee, which if you lose either one of those, you probably get fired on the spot, you go to Alabama. So that becomes probably a bellwether game for him, don't you think?
Yeah, that's a loss, though.
Yeah, I would say it's a loss in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Much like those 2 games you mentioned, Wisconsin, if he loses those, that's if Kalen DeBoer was to lose to Wisconsin at home, that's a problem.
Boy, heat check. So you should be 2-1. You come back home, you play Maryland, you should be 3-1.
Should be.
Listen to October, boys. At Michigan, host Iowa, host Ohio State, at Oregon. That's his October.
Yeah.
That's a get-fired schedule right there, buddy.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks a lot like 0-4.
Yeah. So you're 2-5 at that point, and you're Paul Chryst.
That's right. You're fired with a little bit of a bigger buyout.
The grass,
crispy Chryst.
The grass does look a lot greener going back to the Big Ten, but in retrospect, if you're at Cincinnati, back to what Paige said a couple of days ago, if you're in the Big 12, you're all like programs. All you got to do is win the Big 12. Yeah. That should be the goal. And is it easier for Fickell to win the Big 12 at Cincinnati, and I don't know if it is, or to have a Wisconsin team that goes 10-2 and gets an at-large?
It's easier to win the Cincinnati, the Big 12, I think.
By the way, Washington improving, Indiana coming off a historic year, Illinois is supposed to be this year's Indiana.
Yeah, it's a brutal schedule.
Ouch.
That October, without looking at everyone's, I cannot imagine one more difficult than going to Michigan, hosting Iowa, hosting Ohio State, and going to Oregon.
Yeah, most people I don't think play Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon. The schedule seems to be divided up differently.
Yeah, they may be the lone Big Ten team that gets all 3 of those.
Viewing menu every day brought to you by the wonderful folks at Michelson. I don't know if Tyler today is going to tell us about the 4 nations tonight, but it is happening tonight. USA and Canada hockey. The puck drops here, 7 o'clock on ESPN. From Boston. Should be great viewing tonight. Michelson brings you the viewing menu.
Yeah, make that phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Got a couple options tonight. If you want to stay home tonight, there's a new movie on Netflix called 0 Day. A former U.S. president is called out of retirement to find the source of a deadly cyber attack.
I think it's a miniseries.
Oh, miniseries then.
With Robert De Niro, right?
Robert De Niro, Jesse Plemons, and Lizzie Kaplan.
Fat Matt Damon, Jesse Plemons?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, Fat Damon. And then if you want to go out tonight, you can see the Thursday night preview of The Monkey. It's based on a short story by Stephen King, and it centers around twin brothers finding a mysterious wind-up monkey that causes a series of outrageous deaths.
Negative. Wind-up monkey. That's where you lost me.
So,
you know the monkey that does the symbols?
It's Chucky with a wind-up monkey?
So Funny story. It's actually not the symbol monkey because Disney owns the copyright or trademark for that because of Toy Story 3. So they went with a monkey hitting a little drum.
Oh, wow.
Symbol monkey would have been scarier.
Disney owns the symbol monkey?
Yep.
So we can't have a symbol monkey shirt here?
What does?
That would
It
fly off
might
the
just be
shelves.
for movies, but
What does Disney not own?
Hey, what was your sneak peek movie the other day?
it was My Dead Friend Zoe, and it was really good. If you want a story centered around a veteran coming home and having to deal with what happened while they were gone.
Yeah, those are always emotional stories. I'm glad it was good and the mystery movie night for you.
Yeah,
How often do they do that? Not once a week, right?
Just about once a week.
Just about once
every
a week.
week or 2 weeks.
Are we going to talk more about this hockey game?
Yeah, we'll
later.
come back.
Okay. Because I got some questions.
Michelson, viewing menu there brought to you by the great folks at Michelson.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. If you wear the contacts with glasses, you're wasting money each and every year. I'm speaking from experience. Make the phone call I made. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Back to basketball. Brown asks hockey questions, and we look at third-year coaches like Luke Fickell, give them some grades going into this college football season. All that coming up on the show that's brought to you by Urology Centers of Alabama. Stay on top of your health, guys, as you get a little older, from your 20s to your 30s. Smooth sailing. 30 to 40s, got to stay on top of that health. That's what Urology Centers of Alabama can do to keep you from having that moment. 16 locations around Alabama. They'll take care of you. UrologyCentersAlabama.com to find the one nearest you. Or you can call them up to make an appointment right now, 205-930-0920. Best in the business, prostate health, the kidney stones, and everywhere in between. UrologyCentersAlabama.com.
On Twitter at Scott Forrester TV.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Alabama, join us over on covercrimson.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on covercrimson.com.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit UrologyCentersAlabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, And please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
Before Brown gets us into the chat room, why the NFL is able to sort of Netflix and chill when it comes to their roster now. Do you know they get $75 million, the NFL does, per game that is broadcast on Netflix?
$75 million?
$75 million per game that is broadcast on Netflix. How many did they do last year? 2, 3?
2, I thought it was 2 on Christmas. Is that wrong?
I think you're right. I think the Christmas doubleheader was it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, the fight was what scared everybody because the fight had so many issues.
I did think it was going to be a disaster, and it went off pretty smooth.
Yeah, they get $110 billion is their TV deal. The extra from Netflix, not part of that, so that's just bonus money there. It has changed the way the salary cap, not just the Netflix money, but the salary cap has gone up this year. From last year when it was $255 million and some change for the salary cap, it is up to anywhere between the teams were notified yesterday, anywhere between $277.5 million to $281.5 million. So even if you have been horrible at the salary cap, New Orleans Saints, you have now gotten an extra $25 million to possibly $30 million of extra credit.
Well, and Netflix is not done either. They were open yesterday. I don't know if it was just some sort of what do they call it where they introduce their new shows and all that. There's a name for the event, but all the networks do it.
Launch,
something like that. But anyway, I think their CEO was speaking. It might have just been an interview he was doing, and he says they want a Sunday product. That they're not content with just the Christmas Day product. They want an every Sunday product on Netflix. So they're only going to spend more to get into the NFL model, which is good for the teams, obviously.
Yeah, but that helps you out there with that extra money when it comes to the salary cap. Just in case you're wondering, 10 years ago, a decade ago in the NFL, where, by the way, they had a pretty good television contract, $140 million. You had to build a team with $140 million, LT. You can't even get a good quarterback now.
I mean, really.
Yeah. How did you ever do it?
But I did see a lot of players celebrating with that announcement yesterday.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Especially if you're right there in that. If you're T. Higgins, that was pretty important to you.
No doubt. Yeah. Up fronts was the phrase I was looking for. Thank you, Tyler Glenn, in the chat room.
Okay, before you get into the chat room over there, Brownie, our friends at Odie's bring you part of the show. What was the question last night, guys?
Last night it was which came first, Michael Jordan or the Lakers move from Minneapolis to Los Angeles?
And as Lance pointed out, we have a young crowd there at Odie's. And as Lance pointed out, many of you who probably wondered why on earth do they call L.A. the Lakers? Well, they moved from the Land of Lakes, Minneapolis.
That makes sense.
And I pointed out as a kid, I always wondered why they called Utah the Jazz. It was much later in life that I realized that's because they moved from New Orleans. They just kept the nickname.
Yeah. Dunaway, you got a guess on this?
I'm trying to think. I don't remember in my lifetime the Lakers being in Minnesota. And I remember Lou Alcindor being drafted before he was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, so I'm old.
What year did he get drafted out of UCLA?
I don't know that.
Late 70s. Oh, was it early 70s?
Early 70s.
Yeah, early 70s. I'm going to say that which came first would be Jordan was what yesterday? 62?
62 on Monday.
62 on Monday, 2 days
or
ago.
maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Lakers happened after Michael Jordan, but very close. I'm going to say the Lakers moved in 62 and Jordan was born in 63, somewhere around there.
Very close. Michael Jordan born 1963. The Lakers moved from Minnesota to Los Angeles in 1960.
1960.
Yeah. Just some of the little things you learn every Wednesday night. Odie's Team Trivia. We do it at the original location in Crestline, newest location in Edgewood.
Were they purple and gold in Minnesota? Do you know?
Yeah, well, so there was...
Did they have Lakers
It
on
was
there?
blue and white. It was more blue and white.
Blue and white.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they went purple and gold because of Hollywood and
the regalness.
Yeah.
But these are the little things you learn at Odie's. We do it every Wednesday night. Come see us. Enjoy great food from Rodney Davis, from the award-winning wings, delicious wraps, sandwiches, burgers, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Get in and see Will Haver, that great staff. 2 locations, Edgewood and Crestline. It's Odie's Tavern.
You didn't have Wikipedia back then, so I was just like, the Utah Jazz. I don't know what the connection with jazz and Salt Lake City is.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't Google it. If I'd have Googled it, I'd have known in 2 seconds.
I think I'm right about the Charlotte Hornets. They were in New Orleans, coming from Charlotte.
Charlotte to New Orleans.
And now they got their Hornets back.
Yep. Yeah, because New Orleans changed the nickname. They went Pelican.
Do they have a problem with Hornets in Charlotte?
I have no idea.
But
there's a history. It's a military history.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I believe whatever fort is up there.
Yeah, there was some brigade up there that they called the Hornets, and that was the history behind that nickname.
And I believe it was a World Football League team, WFL, in the 1970s, the one that had the Birmingham Americans and Vulcans. I think they were the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
The more you know.
Came from the military.
Yes.
And they kept that going around. What's happening in the chat, Brown?
So Keith in the MyBookie.ag chat room, based on what we were talking about before we went to break there, he says, I will die on this hill. Texas Tech is this year's Indiana. We ended the show yesterday giving you the story of the founder of Texas Tech's NIL collective. The founder, not just some guy they got a donation from. This is the guy that started the collective. Just sold his oil and petroleum company for $4.1 billion, billion with a B.
Got some money to spend.
Guy has got money to spend and is already obviously interested in spending it on Texas Tech athletics. They were the winner in the transfer portal, according to everyone. They had a goal of 10, and they signed 17, as Keith points out.
Yeah.
I don't know how good any of the 17 are, but that's a pretty good haul out of the transfer portal.
Did Keith tell you the price tag?
He overspent his budget.
$10 million for 17 players is what I read.
I don't think they went in thinking they were going to spend $10 million, but they did. So are you saying that's if it's only $10 million on 17 players, how good could they be? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying that last year
$650,000 roughly a player.
That's right. Meanwhile, last year Ohio State that won it all, didn't they spend $20 million?
$20 million, but we don't know if that was
players.
Including Chip Kelly though.
Yeah.
Because some people did bring that up.
Could
I
be
don't
on
know.
Chip Kelly.
Texas Tech has a favorable out-of-conference. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, and Oregon State all at home before they start Big 12 play.
I would say this again, though. I don't think anybody like Texas Tech or Illinois is now going to be able to sneak up on anybody. Because Iowa was called out as that team last year, and Iowa didn't have a great year.
They did not.
And teams like Arizona State and Indiana, that's why I believe it's going to be one of these quiet teams.
One of the teams we don't talk about enough. My point being, Brown, if you spent $10 million on 17 players, that doesn't get you to Mbakwe. That doesn't get you Mbakwe, who Alabama, I think, was paying more than that probably to have him at Alabama and then had to up the ante to keep him at Alabama. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've got 17 guys less than Mbakwe.
Yeah.
I mean, really good. I'm just saying that, you're breaking that $10 million down a little bit. I don't know what you got.
Keith says Texas. Well, you didn't know that about Indiana, and so. If you're going to dig for an Indiana, a lot of people think it's Illinois. You were one of the first ones I heard mention that.
I think 21 players back. That
from a pretty good team
last year.
Yeah,
with a quarterback.
Yeah, a lot of players think it. A lot of people think it's Illinois. He's saying, "I'll die on the hill." It's Texas Tech.
Yeah. I'm going to say we don't have an Indiana this year. I'm going to be that guy.
It's going to be all name brand.
I'm going to be that guy.
Yeah,
we don't have an Indiana.
I do think we're going to have one every year. Maybe not to that degree. Yeah. But I just think one team will come out of nowhere.
We had 2 Indianas last year. Arizona State was in Indiana. They just happened to win their conference.
Yeah, I don't think you can count Arizona State and Texas Tech out of the Big 12. I mean, Big 12 is. I mean, that's a Wild West.
Arizona State was picked last.
18 teams.
But you go from 2 wins to 11 wins?
Great job. It was a great job. Texas Tech didn't have 2 wins last year, so they can't be Arizona State.
Okay.
The show being brought to you today by our friends at Hemp Hill. They bring you the wonderful plumbing, heating, and cooling system that you've trusted in Birmingham since the 1950s. I saw them at the game last night. The whole family was down there.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Chad, Adam, Andrew, just great dudes. Make sure you call them. Tell them the next round sent you. If you have any problems, whether it's plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they're ready to serve you. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Cheese is in college. I didn't know Cheese was in college.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Our former intern.
Yeah, he's down there. Saw him last night with the family up top. Got to see them. So as we get back to basketball, Chad Baker Mazara cut 6, Tyler, if you will. First off, Chad Baker Mazara loves him a little next round. Loves him. Taylor Korn video of showing why he got the technical. He said basically he retweets us last night. This is the tweet he sends out. At this point, they just want to give me one just because, laughing emoji. And Taylor had the video of him from her angle, basically saying all he was doing was popping his jersey at the bench. That bench was talking to him.
They were, but you had already had to tee up an Arkansas player, so I think there was probably some consistency. Well, maybe not a makeup call, but we're going to be consistent. If we tee up one guy for running his mouth, if a guy's going to hit a 3, pop his jersey, and toss it to the bench, we're going to have to be consistent.
Yeah, look, and I like guys, showing a little personality. I like guys chirping a little bit. But now we've got back-to-back games for Chad Baker. And, look, that was a tighter game than it should have been. Yeah. And sooner or later, giving away points is going to get you in trouble.
3 games in a row.
Is it 3?
Because he's gotten a technical. Oklahoma was a flagrant one.
Yeah.
Flagrant one against Alabama, now technical here.
Yeah, the Oklahoma flagrant one fouled him out, right?
Right.
Yeah. And the Alabama flagrant one, it was actually a turning point in the game. Could have been a massive turning point the other way.
Fouled him out there, too.
Yeah.
Because he had 4 fouls.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So technically,
but
he
how do you
NBA game in that situation?
How do you coach him moving forward?
Well,
because you don't want to take his emotion out. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah, I saw Bobby from Homewood saying on social media it actually does Auburn a favor, him getting a technical there, that he's hopeful that as they stack up that he will at some point learn his lesson in a game against Arkansas and not an NCAA tournament game like Yale was last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, we talked a lot about Alabama, like they are who they are defensively and with turnovers. I think Chad Baker Mazara is who he is, and Bruce Pearl lets him walk that line because he wants the Chad Baker Mazara you get when he walks that line, not the neutered Chad Baker Mazara.
Bruce seemed madder at the officials for calling the technical than at Chad Baker last night. Just watching it, I don't know how they showed it on the TV, but he basically gave little dap to Chad Baker Mazara as he's coming to the bench. Didn't seem like he was chewing his butt out.
I think in a normal game where you didn't already have a technical on an Arkansas player, you probably let that one go.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
I had said that when
this was consistency.
When Big Z leaned over Chaney and talked to him and got the technical, I told everybody who would listen around me, I said, there will be a technical foul on Auburn at some point here to make up for that.
I mean, we bitch about officials not being consistent. That's consistency in officiating there, even if it is kind of a ticky-tack technical foul.
Oh, and when Arkansas had 0 fouls with 6:23 to go in the second half, I said, they'll have 7 before this game's over with because that's just what basketball officials do.
Right.
And instantly it was a
boom, boom.
Of all the foul calls you could have made before that, they called one on Arkansas. It's like, there you go. There's the first one. They've got to hit their quota here. Here's Chad Baker Mazara, though, as not starting again last night, and there was a story behind it. Here's CBM.
I mean, the role hasn't changed. I feel like, I have to come out there and perform at a high level, whether I'm in starting 5 or off the bench. And the reason why I started off the bench because the last couple games that I've been coming off the bench, we have started the game actually in runs. So I told the coach today, no need for me, to change that up when we started the game. So, it was kind of like a personal decision, to be honest.
Yeah. So they came to him and said, hey, back in the starting lineup. And he was like, whoa, we've been off to hot starts with me coming off the bench. Let's keep rolling. Works out.
Yeah, that's, that's literally being a team player, but he's going to get his minutes.
Yeah. Can I go back to Chad Baker Mazara's technical and what worries you? I this time of year, even though there is no technically SEC officials, these same guys are working SEC games. You see the same guys over and over. I think they know him, And that may hurt some. I mean, there could be a reputation thing. I wonder, though, when you get to the NCAA tournament and you get guys that haven't had Auburn all year, I just wonder how aware they are of guys that have that type of reputation, and are they watching them closer? Last year's Yale game would tell me yes. I don't even know who officiated that game. I'd have to go look.
I would tell you that the guys who see him on a regular basis are used to him.
That's what I'm saying.
And give him a longer leash.
And that's what I'm asking.
Than the new guy would.
And you get in a tournament, and I just wonder, I don't know how this works.
Well, we don't talk like that.
Yeah. But I wonder if an official almost gets a scouting report the same way a coach does. Like, hey, by the way, they've got this one guy. He's had 5 flagrants this year and 3 technicals.
Yep.
I'm not saying those are Chad Baker's numbers. I'm just saying, those are fake numbers. But do you think they look at that? I wonder if officials look at that like, okay, guys, remember number 8 now. He's had 5 flagrants. We got to keep an eye on him. We can't let him get out of whack.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, going into this, that's what they do for a living. So they know these personalities.
Yeah.
They know the numbers.
Pretty crazy story here now. That is developing news, and Forrester's about to put it up here. And there would be people that will react that I don't feel bad for him. But, if it's your stuff, you work hard for your stuff. Maybe you don't think somebody deserves the money they get.
Mm-hmm.
But this is bothersome. Reports now, Miami Hurricanes quarterback Carson Beck had both of his cars stolen in South Florida overnight.
Nothing defines the NIL era more than this.
A senior law enforcement official tells Andy Slater there. His girlfriend Hannah Cavender's SUV was also stolen, but that one has already been found. Police officers are currently looking for Beck's Mercedes and his Lamborghini.
Most NIL story ever.
Yeah, and I just don't go a couple of things. 21-year-old having a couple of cars, good for him, and especially at the price point. But, how does all of this get stolen?
It sounds like an inside job, right? When you steal
it's almost
her SUV, his Lamborghini, and his Mercedes, it wouldn't shock me if you find out the 2 of them were out of town or something like that.
Yeah, they had to have been stolen from the residents. You're not taking 3 cars out when you go.
And I assume they're not living at River Oaks apartment in South Florida. They're not parking with the General Pop there.
Man,
I'll
tell you,
at a $1,000 a month 2-bedroom.
I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they were talking about a break-in and how professional some of these break-ins have gotten. And how it's multiple people. And we just saw this with Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Joe Burrow in this ring that got busted. I think it was
7 people.
Yeah, some Chileans maybe.
Did you see how they popped those guys though?
No.
I think it was if I saw the story correct, it was a routine traffic stop, and they were wearing Bengals gear in the car, and the police officer thought it was odd, so he kind of delays the stop, and then.
Yeah. Name the best defensive player in the Bengals. Okay, you're Bengals fans.
Yeah. So, I think that's how they got popped. But those were obviously inside jobs. They knew, or not necessarily inside jobs, but they knew when Burrow was going to be out of town.
When Mahomes and Kelce
are going to be out of town. If you get 3 vehicles stolen in one night, that's not, to me, that doesn't scream just random theft.
No.
Especially when they're high-end vehicles.
Yeah, and if it came from the house, you would think other things would have been stolen inside of the house, so that would be part of the report too. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I would imagine there are car thefts in big cities a lot, but
no, I get
in South
that.
Florida.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, for them to get 3 cars, they had to have been from his residence.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering why they didn't break in and take other stuff.
I would say that you probably have to walk by a lot of Mercedes and Lamborghinis in South Florida to get to Carson Beck's Mercedes and Lamborghini too.
Yeah,
if I remember my Ballers consumption on HBO back in the day.
They're millionaires. He and Cavender.
Oh yeah.
So there's no telling what kind of joint they're living in, as you say, in South Florida. I predict this is not.
They look like spenders.
They do. Now I don't think I would almost
22-year-old with 2 cars.
Well, I would almost guarantee you he doesn't own either of them.
You think they were gifts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or
NIL.
not necessarily gifts, but they're NIL. So the dealership owns it and he drives it. Similar deals to what we've had over the years, where an advertiser puts us in a vehicle. Wouldn't you think that's probably
a little different vehicle? But yeah.
Well, yeah. Ours were trucks and cars. This is a Lambo. Also wasn't a quarterback for a top 15 program.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think he owns the Lambo outright. I'm sure it's a dealership that owns it.
I wanted to bring up this NFL story that's out there. Aiden Hutchinson dropped this on a podcast. He said he was recently with Myles Garrett, and the two talked about teaming up in Detroit and how awesome it would be to have Garrett as an edge rusher opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. If you're not familiar, Garrett is second most sacks in the NFL since 2017. That may be Aiden Hutchinson's dream, but the Browns say it's not happening.
Well, good. Keep him in the AFC, because I've heard not only Detroit, I've heard that Philadelphia would be a potential landing spot.
The GM says, we're not trading Myles Garrett even if they offer us 2 first-round draft picks. I say BS. If they offered you 2 first-round draft picks, you would trade Myles Garrett.
Now, I will say Myles Garrett doesn't seem like he's lost a step, but sooner or later he's going to have to lose a step. He's had 14 sacks in back-to-back years, but two first right now, I think, for where he is in his career. I mean, Myles Garrett is mid-30s? No, early 30s.
Yeah.
Probably.
Especially, Lance, for a franchise that's going to have to draft quarterback at some point in the near future. I mean, you want
any draft picks.
You need as many first-round draft picks as you can get.
Especially if he doesn't want to be there.
Boy, you put him on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. That is one heck of a pass attack.
By the way, several NFL people telling those that cover the league, this from the NFL Network, what the Rams' asking price for Matt Stafford would be, and it's a first-round pick. They do not believe they would trade Matt Stafford for anything less than a first-round pick.
And I'm wondering who would give a first round that's ready. Like if this was a situation going back to 21 where Stafford, it was plug and play, won a championship, you know, who's ready? Everybody's talking about New York.
The Rams would have done it, right?
Yeah.
Boom, yes.
Okay.
But, you know, like people talk about the New York Giants. The Giants are so far away.
But what about Pittsburgh? If you drop Matt Stafford into Pittsburgh,
I don't.
You don't think so? You don't think they can make the Super Bowl?
I don't like their receiving core.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, George Pickens is good when he's got his head screwed on, right?
Yeah, look, and I still think Stafford's like a top 10 quarterback, and you know I love him. But, yeah, I don't think he makes Pittsburgh. I don't know who that team would be. Minnesota.
I was about to say Minnesota. You would get them out because you would probably get Sam Darnold back, and you would get them out of a bad deal with Sam Darnold.
If you give me Sam Darnold and Minnesota's one as a Rams fan, I think I could stomach it.
And Minnesota's a Super Bowl contender with Matt Stafford.
Oh, yeah.
Automatically. Maybe even an close to an NFC favorite.
Yeah, maybe.
So you would take Sam Darnold and a 1. From Minnesota.
Because I do believe Sam Darnold in Sean McVay's system can be good. Not great. I mean, I wouldn't love it, but, I mean, it doesn't sound like Matt Stafford. I mean, where this thing's going right now, it doesn't I mean, I saw yesterday, my gosh, I would hate this. Aaron Rodgers now, there's 3 teams that are the favorite. They're all 3-1. Pittsburgh, the Rams, and I forgot the third. I do not want Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Sam Darnold's a better quarterback right now, or at least had a better year.
What about the Jets? Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, if you drop Stafford into New York.
I don't know.
Yeah.
God, those receivers?
Definitely a better situation. But again, I mean, that's where quarterbacks go to die.
It is. I mean, we've done it this week, and still we forget the numbers Rodgers actually put up there last year, and it got the coach fired, and they didn't even really scare the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Matt Stafford just wants to be paid. I did see this morning he's made over $300 million in his career, but he just wants to get fair market value. But I think at this point in his career, like, he's going to have to find a really good spot. I would be blown away if he went to the New York Giants. Blown away.
Dr. B brings us as part of the show, and Brown's going to ask his hockey question right after LT tells us about Dr. B.
I had a friend I was talking to yesterday, just got scheduled with Dr. B and that staff to get that consultation. If you're starting to thin out, you want to be preemptive, do exactly what I did 3 years ago, and that is called Dr. Beckenstein and that great staff. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. That T3 new test, so easy, painless, affordable, takes 4 seconds to perform. It will show you which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. 205-319-0316. Tell them the next round sent you. Men and women are ordering Hims and other products online. Don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. B and the great staff. Find out what will work. 205-319-0316. Or again, for more information, T3hair.net.
So what we're watching here is a replacement for the NHL All-Star break?
Yeah.
Is this correct?
They get back to action on Saturday, regular season games. This is the All-Star break for the NHL. Huge ratings compared to the NBA. NBA really can't match this.
Yeah, there's nothing you could really do with the NBA. So the way I understand this, we're just taking hockey players from the United States, and as we're talking about this, they're showing the fight that Canada had.
Yep.
United States, Canada, Finland, and Sweden. So
That's
any
right.
players that are citizens of those countries, we appropriate them to those teams, and they play one another.
That's right.
Could this blow up in the NHL's face? Because there's so much bad blood between America and Canada, and I am assuming some of these guys are teammates in the real world once this is done. I mean, there's chirping back and forth. They have
Same way with the Olympics when you do the Olympics.
Yeah, but
this is different.
They don't
World
fight.
Cup in soccer.
Yeah, but they don't fight in those things.
And you've got political issues that are crossing over now.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder if this blows up in the NHL's face a little bit once these guys are back in the same locker room.
Hey, free play tonight for you. I hate to say it, but Canada's going to win this game.
I've already I played it yesterday.
Yeah. What'd you get, a minus 110?
I played money line.
Is this? Do you have this up at Lance'sLive.com?
No, that would be the money line.
Oh yeah, I can tell you. I can tell you.
Did you give it out today?
No, I stayed away. I want to sit back and pull for Team USA tonight.
Right. So you sacrificed a winner just so you could pull for the U.S.
I'm using the Alabama method.
Yeah.
I'll be cheering for America.
No, I mean it is a good way to hedge your bets if you actually believe that Canada's going to win this game, which I kind of do.
I'm trying to find it at mybookie.ag.
But there's props for this too. You can. Will there be a fight in the first 90 seconds?
There's
tonight?
no chance.
That's a prop bet.
Weren't there 3 last time?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of these underwhelming because there's so many people that didn't see it. They saw all the highlights, they heard all the hype, and now you've got this rematch days later.
I got
there's no way
minus 107.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so right now at mybookie.ag, the United States is a minus 1.5. That's goals, right?
That would be, and that's probably getting back, plus 180 or
plus
something?
230.
Yeah.
And the money line is almost dead even. It's almost a 50-50.
Minus 110, minus 110?
Yeah, minus 110, minus 109 U.S.
Okay. Yeah. I
So
think
you would say
Canada
that plays
wins.
Canada minus 110.
I think Canada's
I think Canada wins it.
Yeah. What's the total, 5.5?
5.5 goals, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away, but
I
will sample tonight. Will you watch?
Yeah, I mean,
they beat us 4-2 with an empty netter at the end.
I don't
That's
think
my prediction.
there's any good college basketball tonight, is there? I mean, you gave me a Sun game, but
7 o'clock ESPN Plus, North Alabama and Lipscomb.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll sample this. People are sharing, like I was watching on social media earlier, people are sharing the Kurt Russell version of the Herb Brooks speech from the Disney movie. Like, basically, like this is the next best United States hockey game ever to the U.S. versus Russia.
Well, the question on all the sports pages that I read in the morning is, this is the biggest hockey game since ...
And are people saying since U.S.
And some people are like, well, since the Stanley Cup championship last year. And others are like, no, this is bigger than the Stanley Cup last year.
Boy, I tell you, this is an all-star break game. I think we're losing sight of what is actually on the line.
Any of the guys involved, and they're going to say no.
Like, I mean,
I really believe Kachuk said this is more important to me than the Stanley Cup.
I've never seen Miracle. Did they show Kurt Russell before the actual gold medal game? What gets forgotten by a lot of people is when we beat Russia, we still had to play Sweden for the gold.
Yeah, I think they do.
It's the greatest pregame speech of all time. There's no way Disney could show what he actually said, but I've heard players tell about it that Herb Brooks walks. They said the locker room had like swinging doors, and it was just almost like a shotgun house. It was just straight back and straight through, and lockers on both sides. And they said Herb Brooks walks in. This is after they've beaten Russia and they're about to play Sweden. He walks in, doesn't say a word, walks all the way to one end, and says, he walks all the way to one end, comes all the way back by the doors, and turns around and says, if you lose this game, you will take it to your blanking grave. And he opens the door and starts to walk out, and turns around and goes, your blanking grave. And that's all he said before the game.
Yep. But it doesn't put any pressure on you.
Not at all.
At that point, if you're Alabama, you go out and it's a 12-0 start.
It is like, crazy that we forget. Do we still remember that moment if they don't close the deal?
It does feel different, doesn't it?
Yeah. You're silver medalist.
But he was right. If you lose that game, you're taking it to your blinking grave.
Champy's Chicken bring you the final hour of the show. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go check Sterling and his crew out down there. Perfect place for lunch, dinner, happy hour, all the great fun you get with when you have good times with friends over a great plate of food. That chicken is brined overnight. It is cooked to order. It is crispy, fresh, and hot when it comes out. The Mississippi Delta recipe tamales and so much more. There's only one Champy's Chicken on Highway 119. 119 in Alabaster. There are other Champy's Chicken, but none as good as this one. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go see Sterling.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with a TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rowback. Go to rowback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings, or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hey, before we get to some college football conversation here, let's get back to quickly what we saw last night in basketball. That includes Missouri beating Alabama 110-98 after a 12-0 start. Nate Oats having to burn a timeout, 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Alabama never led. It was Mark Sears' first 30-point game of the season, the fourth of his career, and it wasn't enough, his 35. Alabama was 13 of 31 from threes, but the difference ended up being easy buckets at the rim and 47 free throw attempts for Missouri. They made 31 of them, and Mark Mitchell had 31 points. And it was a Missouri win. Give me cut 2, Tyler. This is Nate Oats afterwards. It's not your night. Not your night, man. When you lose like that on the road and before you get on the plane to come home, your post-game news conference gets cut short by this. Cut 2, Tyler. Cut 2, man. Bum, bum. I'll bring up a little Nate Oats here for you. In the post-game press conference, here's how it ended last evening.
They had a good team. I mean, they've been winning a lot of big games. They're 17-1, I believe, at home now. You know, crowd was into it. Obviously, we helped with that, giving up the 12-0 run, but they got the crowd into it. They even when we cut it to I think 6 with about 10 to go there, you know, they perfect and press conference over, I guess, right? Yeah, they were on fire tonight. That's for sure. What was going on? We've known that for about 2 hours. So somebody else just figured it out.
I mean,
perfect.
They did shoot 60%, and you mentioned those free throws. I mean, they missed 16 free throws.
Yep.
I mean, you add just basic math,
My God,
and they make half of those, and you win by 20.
They had like 47 attempts.
Yeah.
Free throw attempts.
Got tired of shooting them. Their legs were tired at the free throw line. Morgan, a great viewer and listener from Kentucky who goes to almost every Alabama game, was in Columbia last night. Despite the snow, he drove from Louisville to Columbia.
Nice.
He sent video afterwards of what caused the fire alarm. He says it was a suite up in that section that I guess somebody left a cooker on or something, and it was
maybe somebody smoked a joint.
Maybe smoke got the fire alarm.
All the above.
Could have been that there. So
Hey, can I put this in perspective? Because you used to make the point, and I think you're correct on this, Dunaway, that we live in such a football-crazed culture that we often overreact to singular basketball losses.
Yeah, this is 2 in a row, though.
It is.
Am I not allowed to panic at 2 in a row?
And there are some alarming trends for Alabama. They don't play defense particularly well of late. They turned the ball over, but they won in spite of those turnovers. So you could deal with those.
Which loss was worse, this or the home Ole Miss loss?
To me, in retrospect, I wasn't worried about that Ole Miss loss because I thought Ole Miss was going to be really good.
Well, you were worried about.
But now Ole Miss it concerns me most.
But now you know Missouri is really good, I think that's why.
You weren't concerned about the Ole Miss loss because a lot of people after that game were saying, "Hey, look, Chris Beard's defense
That's right.
is just
who's going to be able to do that to Alabama?"
Yeah.
And really, nobody else has to that extent.
But it's Alabama's defense that has been the issue of late.
No,
but I was going to put this in perspective though. That is Alabama's first back-to-back loss since March of last year when they lost back-to-back to Tennessee, and how massive a game that was. If you'll remember, game day was there. It was for the SEC regular season basically, and Tennessee beat them.
Or Auburn this year.
Yeah,
same thing.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
and then they turned around and lost
at Kentucky, I believe, where they gave up 100,000 points.
So anyway,
sort of like Missouri last night, basically last year is what you're saying.
So it's back-to-back losses for the first time in a year. I mean, that's when you haven't lost back-to-back games in a year.
But
I think
it's
puts it in
identical to what
perspective.
happened last year, Brown. And how did that end? Oh wait, it ended good. My bad. You made your point. Cut number 7 from last night. Jon Calipari, Arkansas. They go into Auburn. They give them a hard-fought game, but they lose 67-60. Jon Calipari, who's as old as I am, I feel like, gets asked if coaching on the bubble adds any pressure to Calipari. Here's Cal afterwards.
Coaching, kind of being on the projected bubble, just how does that add any pressure to you? Just because of how much you had success?
I can't sleep at night. I got the shakes. No, my focus is my team. In this league, what makes it hard is they're all quad 1 wins or losses. But that's also gives you a chance. We had a chance today. The A&M game tied up. We had to leave with 3 minutes to go here. We got a chance. Got to finish it off now. And if you don't finish it off or don't take advantage, that's on us. Every game we play is an NCAA tournament game now. I didn't want to say that before Texas A&M because I thought they'd miss every shot. But I said it for this game, and I'm saying it's our NCAA. That is a Final Four game. because that's what they are. That's a Final Four game. The next game is probably an Elite Eight game. Alabama was probably a Final Four game. The other one was an Elite Eight game. Every game we play, it tells us, okay, what's going to work and what won't. But again, 3 for 19 from the three. How do you win? How do you beat the number one team? You shot 3 for 19 from the three. We had a chance to win. Did you hear what I just said? 3 for 19.
Yeah, you had a chance because Auburn was 4 of 24.
Setting himself up for disaster. Typically, coaches campaign well, but when you're saying that each and every night we're playing a tournament game, well, each and every night you're losing that tournament game.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm the committee, I'm like, well, man, you've already said that, up against this field, you can't beat any of them. Why the hell are we going to put you in it?
Yeah, that's a good point right there. I know you played a tough conference, but you lost all the games you needed.
I mean, hey, man, this team's awesome. That team's awesome. Every night's a tournament game, but you know what? We have consistently losses.
Martin Newton, Sanford AD, is on the selection committee. He's one of the guys making the choices, and I think he's very fond of John Calipari. I could see Martin Newton saying, Cal, I'm going to do you a favor. You would hate the Dayton hotels. We're not going to send Arkansas to a play-in game. We're just going to leave you on the wrong side of the bubble. First 4 out. Doing you a favor, man. You don't want to go sleep at the Dayton Sheraton.
I mean, do you guys think Arkansas gets in? There is no way.
Well, let me pull up the net and give you.
They've lost 3 of 4 earlier this season. They lost 5 consecutive games in conference.
In the world of the net, Arkansas is 40th.
Yep.
Georgia's 39th. They say SMU is a bubble team. Would they end up losing last night?
No, SMU won the game last night. Yep.
They're 38th. Creighton is 37th. UConn is 36th. I mean, Arkansas is basically in UConn's neighborhood. Do you think UConn and Creighton should be in?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean,
Arkansas's right there. They're in it.
They're only a couple spots behind them.
They got to win some of these games, though.
Well, eventually.
So that's basketball last night. We'll get to our spotlight now, brought to you by our friends at McCurry. Hit it, Tyler.
The College Football Spotlight.
It is presented by McCurry. McCurry Van and Car Rental, the local rental company you can depend on. All kinds of vehicles to choose from. That includes trucks, SUVs, passenger vans. Easy to rent, in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve that rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
Steve Sarkisian this morning on Up and Adams.
That's Lance's girl, Kay.
Yeah, sweet Kay Adams. Texas football will not be having a spring game this year. Sark breaking the news on Up and Adams this morning. There's how it looked when he made that announcement this morning. USC yesterday said they will not be having a spring game this year following Nebraska and Ohio State. It's a bigger deal when Texas, Nebraska, and Ohio State are not having spring games. I would imagine USC's is not well attended. Nebraska and Ohio State well attended. I think Texas was last year. Opportunity to go see Arch Manning leading the offense. It was an opportunity to see Arch Manning throw some passes last year in that spring game, but no spring game for these guys. We've already got the date set for Alabama and Auburn. I guess Tide and Tigers are not going to opt out of this thing at least this year.
These coaches don't like the game. We knew that before. Once one really went on record and said there's no reason to have it, you knew people were going to fall in line. So I'm not surprised.
Yep.
I mean, I don't personally watch these games anymore. If I'm sitting there on a Saturday or Sunday and it pops up, I'll watch a little bit. I'll sample it, but there's no way I'm all in on these games anyway.
Imagine years from now when we look back and they're like, God, they used to have 90,000 people at these spring games.
Yeah.
And when we're not having spring games, like when they're the dinosaur and all we have is fossils at spring games, one of the fossils is going to be 93,000 in Tuscaloosa, 90,000 and wherever this other coach was hired, and now we don't even have one anymore because that's what's going to happen.
I would tell you that sometimes I believe, Lance, as we flip the script to third-year coaches, I think sometimes you put the pressure a little too fast on coaches to get it done in 2 years because there was a time that we had a bunch of...
You talking about me personally or...
Just on the show, you seem to really crank up. He's going into his second year, man. But third year... I mean, you really need to have your program kicking in your third year,
what
right?
I have always said is elite coaches make a big jump in year 2.
Yeah.
And that is, and you can go through all of them, and they all do it.
Yeah. And for Saban, it was a big jump in 2, won it in 3. So
Kirby, big jump in 2. I mean, just go through them.
So I've got some grades here from CBS on third-year coaches. But before I get to that, Hugh's going into his third year at Auburn, correct?
Yep.
He needs to make a big jump this year.
Well, I
right?
thought it was going to be last year. When we asked him point blank, hey, look, a lot of coaches make this big jump in year 2. Do you expect that? And he was like, yeah, I do. So I think they underachieved vastly last year. And if he doesn't make that jump, I don't know if Hugh is in trouble. I think he would be on a hot seat going into 2026. And a lot of this does depend on how the season plays out. But I do think they need a big jump. I think Hugh needs to win 9-10 games this year.
So give me a letter grade of what you think 9 or 10 wins would be for Hugh this upcoming year. And I'll tell you the category it puts him in on where CBS graded this past year's third-year coaches.
So if it was 10 wins, I think they get into a college football playoff, it'd be an A+.
Yeah.
If it's 9 wins, look, you're going to be in the conversation probably in November. So I would say that's a B+.
Okay, so
it's a huge jump too.
I'll give you the B+ for 3 years. Now this is counting all 3 years of these coaches at their school.
Okay, Billy Napier's not going to get a B+, right?
B's and B+ give you first Brian Kelly of LSU, B+.
How?
That's it's at best a C.
They call us difficult, graders, but I mean, you go from playing for the conference championship, guy wins a Heisman Trophy. I mean, every year's gotten a little worse, it seems like.
So you're grading on all 3 years.
I would say a C.
Yeah, but if Hugh gets to 9 wins this year, you would say his 3 years is a B+. And you'd have him ahead of Brian Kelly? Of what Brian Kelly has done?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
No, so you're doing the entirety of the 3 years.
Yeah, not just
I
last
thought you were
year.
just doing single year.
No, what the grade you give for the 3 years Brian Kelly's been at LSU.
Yeah, no, I would give him a C, and even if Hugh wins 9 or 10 games, it's going to be a C.
Still a C.
Yeah, I mean, if you win the national championship, we can bump that up to an A.
Yeah. Mario Cristobal's a B right now, according to CBS Sports.
Okay, so let's go through his years. This was his best year. I'm trying to remember the other 2 years.
B is what they gave Cristobal?
Yeah, flat B.
What was your expectation of him? I mean, I think that's what you got to start with. When he left Oregon to take Miami, what was the expectation?
My expectation was for him to eventually win the ACC and be in the college football playoffs.
He has not done that. He was 6-7, 7-6, 10-3.
Because it was portrayed
3-5, 3-5, 6-2.
Portrayed to me, really, that they would have as much money as anybody to spend on NIL, and I think they have.
I thought, honestly, the way this year played out would be I think this is going to kind of be his tenure. I think he's going to have 2-3 losses every single year. They're going to be in the mix in the ACC. If I am a Miami fan, I'm like, well, how did SMU do this in year one? And Miami's never won an ACC championship.
Different way of getting there for Hugh Freeze. He would have done it the natural way of building, not being really good in backwards. But Sonny Dykes is listed as a B grade for his 3 years at TCU. Hard not to give him that because they made the playoffs one year. But
well, I mean, so here's the way I would do it: A, and then Fs, and you meet in the middle with a C. I mean, It was an A when you played for the national championship, A+. You had a Heisman finalist. But since that moment, man, they haven't done anything.
Joey McGuire at Texas Tech is a B- as well. You asked about Napier. He has finished 3 years. He's a flat C. Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
I was about to say whoever's making this grading list is the guy that gives trophies to everyone.
Yeah. Brent Venables has finished 3 years at Oklahoma already.
Year one was 6-7. Year two was 10 wins. What was he last year?
6-7, I think.
He's had.
Yeah, to me that is a flat C, D+.
I think his grade is helped by the fact that he beat Alabama. I think that actually helps his grade a little bit.
Flat
and
C.
It's just one win.
Flat C for him. Lincoln Riley a C+. No way. Less than that.
Yep. Flat C at best. I would probably go D+. Now again, year one it was smoke and mirrors playing for the Pac-12 championship. Caleb Williams wins a Heisman Trophy, but. Since then they've just. I mean, the defense has been a disaster. So I don't know how you give him a C. I'd go D+.
Brent Pry has a C at Virginia Tech. Too nice?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Here are the other ones of note: the good and the bad. A for Marcus Freeman. How it's not A+? I guess an upset here and there keeps it from being that. An A for Dan Lanning. An A- for Rhett Lashley. And you get a D for Tony Elliott. Those are the other power conference head coaches who have just finished year 3. And you have a lot of guys like Hugh Freeze coming up on year 3 now. And those are important years, especially when Hugh sells it like we're basically saving NIL money for the for the big third year jump. Big
okay,
year.
so two forms of expectation. The expectation just from people like us that watch a lot of the games.
And we overhyped Auburn last year.
Yeah. And a lot of that was me. And I really, really thought that there would be a big jump last year. Now,
I think I think a lot of people around the country hyped Auburn because I really believe Hugh was hyping Auburn.
Well, and you can get sold on.
He was a little bit,
Gary Parrish last week was talking about how he had UConn in his top 5 because Dan Hurley was so confident with all this attrition going on to the NBA. With Klingon and Castle and those guys going on, he still said he was selling this roster so much that he believed. And that was Hugh in the quarterback situation last year.
It was.
Because, we couldn't – it was head-scratching that other teams were going out and getting big-time quarterbacks in the portal, and Hugh was going to stand pat with Peyton Thorne,
and went
but
out of
he talked us into it.
He did. He went out of his way to talk about how much better it was with Peyton Thorne.
So,
that they had – the communication was better. Didn't he? They used the phrase with. I think it was with us when
on
we
our
were
set
when we were doing the show, either from SEC Media Days or from the Auburn facility, whichever one it was. He said he's finishing my sentences.
Yeah,
now.
Before I can finish my sentence, he's finishing the sentence for me. We're on the same page, and then it wasn't that when he got into the season. That's our McCurry Spotlight, brought to you by our friends at McCurry today.
But I was going to ask, though.
Go ahead.
The expectation from, us and people that, aren't Auburn fans and then Auburn fans. Like, normally it's two sets. Normally it's two different expectations. But what do you think it is
I think
personally?
I think we have in the media. I think we did last year, and I think we will overhype this team more than Auburn fans will. Does that make sense? I think the media will think Auburn is going to do bigger things than even the Auburn fan base thinks.
It's a more difficult schedule than seems on the surface. I mean, what does 8 wins do?
I think that's more in line with what Auburn fans think and are expecting. And I think the media will talk itself into, by the time we get to Atlanta and SEC Media Days, that Auburn's going to win 9 or 10 games.
Okay, so 8 wins would be in the neighborhood of what A&M and Florida both did last year.
Yep.
Solid seasons. Is it good enough? I don't know.
It's a good step from where you've been the last couple of years.
But, and I hate to point, and I'll probably use this point until I'm done doing this.
Can I finish your sentence like Peyton Thorne?
Yeah.
If Indiana can do it.
No, if South Carolina can do what they did last year, why can't Auburn do it?
Indiana, Arizona State.
No, but I think these
I think it starts with Lenore Sellers there.
Well, it does, but I mean, it's Hugh Freeze's job to go out and find a Lenore Sellers. I mean, that's part of the job.
Shane Beamer found Lenore Sellers, right?
That's right.
Yeah. How can Hugh Freeze not find a Lenore Sellers?
Yep. Maybe he has in Jackson Arnold.
Maybe he has.
He hopes so.
Yeah.
If he hasn't, it'll be a different Auburn coach probably looking for Lenore Sellers.
But see, that was another thing about last year that we started hyping up Auburn because he chose to stick with Peyton Thorne, and he kept talking about how Peyton has done this, and not only just on the same page, what Peyton could do in the offense, and this and that.
And we could find it because we were at the complex that day down in Auburn, and I think he said, like, I would rather have Peyton than any quarterback in America. Now, did I dream that? Maybe I'm sensationalizing this a little bit.
I feel like an overstatement. It certainly was.
I've got to have a reason I thought they were going to win 9 or 10 games.
Honest to goodness, Peyton saved freedom, I think, liberty.
I did like Peyton on the show, though.
So if I ask you guys...
Oh, you mean like his weekly visit?
Yeah, gave no Fs.
Yeah, he did.
Good
you
guy.
didn't?
No, I did. I liked him a lot. He did not give no Fs.
Yeah.
I liked him on the show.
Yeah.
We're jumbling sentences together.
I know. No,
Please don't cut it out that I did not like Peyton Thorne on the show.
No.
Liked him, loved him even more in Talladega.
Peyton wouldn't pull any punches, and it was kind of subtle. Like, you go back to Bo, I don't think Bo Nix knew that he was getting himself into these situations.
No, he did
sometimes.
not. Bo did not know he was going to lose his starting job at one point when he did agreed to come on with us.
No, but
once a
when
week.
Bo would say something controversial, I think it was one of those where he was probably like, damn, did I just say that after the fact? Peyton knew what he was saying.
What was crazy was every week, Peyton was on with us on Tuesdays. Hugh Freeze would do his Monday news conference, say something about Peyton. We would ask Peyton about it. He would say the opposite of what Hugh Freeze said, and then Hugh Freeze would have to come back on the SEC media call on Wednesday and clear that up. I mean, that was almost every week with us.
Yeah, that doesn't bother coaches at all.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
So if I ask you 3 biggest upsets last season, this is our New York Butcher question of the day. I got what my 3 biggest upsets were in last year's college football season. You tell me if anyone breaks it in there.
Okay.
Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame.
That was huge. That really ended up having zero impact in the grand scheme of things.
Didn't matter, but
But it was a huge upset, yes.
Technically, this one didn't either then, Brown. Michigan beating Ohio State.
Didn't matter at
all. It really ultimately didn't matter.
It will ultimately matter, though, depending on how this thing, like if Ryan Day completely turns around. I mean, it's not like it's going to go back and reset everything if they lose again this year to Michigan. But if they do, people are going to be like, damn, how is this possible?
I would say in the 14 playoff world, both those were
massive.
Oh, I mean, they were death shots. I mean, that was a bullet to the head for both Notre Dame and Ohio State.
But, I didn't go into – I didn't even know Northern Illinois and Notre Dame were playing that day. I didn't go in expecting Notre Dame to lose that game.
No, nobody did.
I didn't go into the Michigan-Ohio State game thinking Ohio State was going to lose that game. And the third one on my list is Oklahoma beating Alabama.
I would agree. Now, that one did have an impact because it knocked Alabama out of the playoffs.
Well, I would go Oklahoma, Bama, or Kentucky, Ole Miss. Because I think both of those probably knocked both of those teams out, and there was just no excuse to lose either one of those games.
Yeah, but actually, I mean, I know what you're saying, but Florida Ole Miss ultimately was the death blow for the Rebels. I think if they beat Florida...
But to me, Florida was more digestible based on the way Florida was playing. It was on the road. You had Kentucky at home.
Yeah. No, you're right. The Kentucky loss was unforgivable for them.
You're going chronologically.
Yeah.
LT's looking at the whole picture saying that one doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense.
Yeah.
Ole Miss was still breathing when Florida, smothered them out with a pillow. And at the time, they were still breathing.
And I know that's the one that kept Alabama out. But I even put Oklahoma beating Alabama over Vandy beating Alabama.
Alabama was still
because you had your wake. Like, we didn't realize how good Vanderbilt was going to be by Vanderbilt standards. You had your wake up call. You had everything in front of you. All you got to do is take care of business.
And they didn't have a Diego Pavia. Jackson Arnold didn't have anybody around him. Had no receivers. Had no offensive line.
They didn't try to throw the ball.
That Vandy team was better than that Oklahoma team when Alabama.
When
played
Alabama played Vandy, they were
and when Alabama played Oklahoma.
Yeah, but Oklahoma just needed two safeties to win the game.
Yeah.
And that's how bad the offense was. It really had nothing to do with Alabama's defense.
Would you say that was the number one upset was Oklahoma over Alabama? Because it was really the only one that was impactful.
I did 1, 2, 3. I went no.
I know.
Yeah, I would not say.
You wouldn't say it? Okay.
No. Is there another one that jumps out? You mentioned Kentucky. That one didn't make sense when I watched that happen. But it was still early enough in the year where I thought, well, maybe Kentucky's pretty dang good.
This ended up affecting the playoff. Kansas beating Colorado was a pretty big upset at the time.
But
the Big 12 was jumbled, but Colorado controlled it until they went and lost to Kansas.
Like rosters, I just didn't see that as a big upset.
Well, Kansas might have been favored in that game. Were they favored in that game, Lance? Or it was pretty close, wasn't it?
Because you had the quarterback was healthy that weekend.
Yeah.
When you caught Kansas with healthy quarterback, that was a big different Kansas team.
I think even more BYU's loss at home to Kansas. Because BYU was rocking along. Remember at that point they were 9-0.
Yeah.
And then they lose back-to-back one-possession games, 17-13 to Kansas, and then they lose 28-23 at Arizona State. They win either of those games, they're in the Big 12 championship. And those aren't like massive upsets. But, man, we don't really talk about how close BYU was. And that's why BYU's got everything coming back, and nobody's really talking about them.
Yeah. I know if we'd have just taken how we felt after week 0, how high we'd have put Georgia Tech over Florida State on that list.
No, that felt like a huge upset.
By the end of the year, it was like
Georgia Tech's a much better team than Florida State.
How did Georgia Tech not beat them more? All right, a little look back, flashback, rear view of the last college football season. That was our question from New York Butcher Shop today. Great place to get by and enjoy great meals with New York Butcher.
Yeah, pick up a couple of steaks on your way home tonight. Stop in for a sandwich for lunch or pick up some on the way home for dinner. One-stop shop, everything prepared fresh. Had some of their chicken salad yesterday. Just fantastic stuff. Great selection of fine wines and desserts as well. Don't forget about catering options. 2 locations, the original Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Get in, see Jim and that incredible staff. Tell them the next round sent you. Rare quality, well-done service. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
And when we come back, we will get to trash and talk a little Braves baseball, actually. As today's the first day of spring training. Braves not playing today, but you have Dodgers and Cubs starting off spring training at 2 o'clock on Major League Baseball Network. Congratulations to Joe Buck, who's going to be back in the booth for ESPN on opening day. I think he's only doing opening day. Brewers and Yankees from Yankee Stadium. 55 years old, hasn't called a baseball game since 2021. He's really good at it. His dad was fantastic at it. But he's back in there doing a baseball game this year.
It's funny. I just saw the story, and I was like, well, of course Joe Buck is doing baseball for Fox. And then I was like, crap, Joe Buck doesn't even work for Fox anymore, and hasn't in a couple years.
Doing it for ESPN.
Yeah.
It'll be the first baseball game he's done for ESPN in this new contract. When we come back, I'll also ask you if you've ever umpired before. I'm going to ask you about the strike zone when we come back as well. This is the Next Round, brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway.
Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
All right, trash in just a second. Show being brought to you by Michelson. Before you tell us about Michelson, we watch baseball. which cranks back up today with spring training. By the way, robot umpiring challenges available in spring training, which is why I have these measurements.
So it's kind of like tennis, where it's
you have to challenge a call, including balls and strikes.
And it goes to the robot, not to human video.
It'll show up on the screen. They will not have it on the screen during the broadcast because it would take away the excitement of the game, they say, because it'd be too precise and too judgmental of the umpires, because of the ones they put up for us is not exactly right. It's created by TV, not the robots. The strike zone for you guys, is it a set box? Or does it change with your height?
I've always heard, Lance, knee to letters over the plate, right?
Yeah, I do change. I mean, Aaron Judge's zone's a little bit different.
So you say Aaron Judge's strike zone would be bigger than my strike zone?
Yes.
So what is he? Is he...
Well, I mean, 6'7".
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
So, but you would still call knees to letters?
Yeah, but it's going to be bigger.
Yeah, because he's big. Okay, but it's the same measurement.
Yeah, and I've only been behind the plate calling balls and strikes. I've probably umpired a handful of games.
So you're saying I've got to be a better pitcher to throw a strike to Tyler than I would be to throw a strike to Randy Johnson?
Yeah.
You're right.
What are you saying about me?
That you're not 6'7".
You're shorter than Randy Johnson.
That's true.
You're right. Strike zones are not the same size. They're the same width. It's all 17 inches wide. It is 53.5% of a player's height from the top.
Yeah, the width's easy. Zone. You got the plate. I mean, you paint the black. Right? Yeah, that doesn't change.
53.5% of a person's height at the top and 27% from the bottom. And that's how you get the range of a strike zone.
So the robot adjusts for the height of a player.
Adjusts for the height of the player.
Does it adjust for the player adjusting his strike zone during the at-bat? Like if I squat a little bit more, I shrink the strike zone some.
I do not know if squatting changes the strike zone. For me, it does not.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm behind the plate, I'm going by when you walk up to the plate.
Right. This goes back for years, though. Who is it, Bill Veck, that brought the midget up?
Yeah. And now that was brilliant to do that. But so the strike zone changes depending on the player's height. So it's different for Judge than it is for Ozzie Albies.
So I can challenge, like if it's a strike three looking, I can challenge it and perhaps make it ball 3 or ball 4.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And we're testing that in spring training only, but the robots are in place for spring training starting today with the Dodgers and Cubs, 2 o'clock. On Major League Baseball Network. One more baseball thing involving the Atlanta Braves after LT tells us about Michelson, and then we'll do trash.
Make the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago. Ask for Amy, 205-969-8100. Tell her the next round sent you. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After the procedure, 2015 vision, better than 2020. 205-969-8100. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
If I ask you the best offense in Major League Baseball, everyone will instantly say the Dodgers. Right? Because you got Ohtani and Freeman and Betts and on and on and on and on. Second best offense in baseball. Is there a chance the Atlanta Braves can rise up to that?
I don't know. I mean, the Yankees scored more than 100 more runs than the Braves last year. I know there were injuries involved.
That's right. You had injuries, and everybody had down years. If you go back 2 years ago, the Braves would be that team. Acuna is coming back. But Olsen, Riley, Harris, and Albies all had years that were less than last year from the year before. If they can get back to their 2023 selves, this potentially the second best offense in baseball.
I mean, but, their other problem they got to deal with, not only are they in the National League with the Dodgers, but you've got the Mets and Phillies, both really good offenses right there in division.
Same division, you'll play them a lot.
Is there a chance that's the best division?
I think it probably is.
In baseball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, if the Braves hold up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, and the Phillies are and the Mets are, which,
Mets rarely hold up their end of the bargain.
I was going to say, when do the Mets ever hold up?
The most competitive division might have been the AL Central outside of
the White Sox?
Yeah, outside of Forster's White Sox.
Hurt the neighborhood property.
I mean, you can't not mention it.
I still like 51 and a half games back.
Yeah.
Hey, what's our friend who coaches Army basketball, men's basketball?
Kevin Kuick. Yeah. Coach Kuick.
Congratulations to them. They beat a very good American team last night. Most conference wins now in school history at West Point.
Well, we need them to get in because he's going to be an easy guest, right?
Yeah.
Bingo.
10-5 in the Patriot League, most wins in conference wins in Army history. Congratulations.
Good for him, man. He seemed, I know it's easy, and most of these coaches probably, you talk to them on just a random day, they'll seem organized, they're motivated, they've got energy, but there was just something about him where he seemed like he was a guy that was going to get it done, move on, get a bigger and better job. That's the way it seemed to me.
Yeah, but this is a guy that has served. I mean, leaving Army will be, I know everybody is like, no, you definitely take the bigger job. This guy served in the Mideast. I mean, he is not just some random coach they've selected. This man has worn the uniform, so it's got to be far more personal for him.
But here is the difference, and a lot of this conference affiliation with the Patriot. Army football, when Monken has them good, you'll see one-offs against a Notre Dame or against an Oklahoma where people are tuned in and they see your brand. You don't see that with Army basketball.
I've watched them play one, really not even a full game. Some of the Army-Navy game was on CBS Sports Network. I stumbled across it.
And we'll have, Navy's been good and stuff. The only basketball that I ever remember with one of our military academies was when David Robinson got Navy to the Elite Eight.
That's right. They were in the bracket, still kicking along.
It's amazing to consider that they made the Elite Eight. Shows how good he was.
All right, it is trash time. It is brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Tyler, let me remove these glasses.
Uh-oh. You're serious.
6 witches that are in our church. And you know what's strange? 3 of you are in this room right now. We got your first name. We got your last name. We even got an address for one of you. You so much as cough wrong, and I'll expose you in front of everybody in this tent, you stinking witch.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
That whole conversation changes if their heads start spinning around backwards and they elevate up out of the chair.
No, he shits his pants, falls down in the fetal position.
Again, a lot of confusing trash opens. Why a pastor has 3 witches in his church, but he's not going to expose them right away is baffling to me.
That's right. Yeah.
If you know they're witches and you're a pastor of a church, you're probably going to go and get them out.
You're taking the devil's money at that point and turning it into God's money.
Yeah. So help me out on February 20th. Where do we roll into spring officially?
Oh, it's not until March.
Yeah, for me, it's March 9th.
I think.
Okay.
March 9th for me because that's when we changed the clock.
Yeah, but I have talked to people that are already preparing to put their house on the market, preparing to look at other houses. So buying season is right around the corner. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to their website, mortgageright.com. Call that Highway 280 office, 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
March 20 through June 20 this year is spring. Okay. Boy, June 20, I'm in the summer. I'm well into summer.
That is summer. It's been summer so long.
I'm well into summer.
It's been summer since May 20th.
Yes.
I randomly had YouTube TV on, and before, sometimes I have to go to YouTube. I know this is really going to surprise you guys that there's some confusion when I'm technically trying to get there, but it popped up the video of the plane that went from Minneapolis to Toronto and went on top of it.
Yeah.
But while I was watching the footage of that and some interviews and stuff, on the bottom it was just tickers of all these Midwest and like North Dakota, South Dakota, and it was all minus 22 degrees, minus 24 degrees.
I can't believe people voluntarily live in that.
That's crazy. Protector is an app that debuted today in the Apple App Store, billing itself as allowing users to hire on-demand personal armed security along with a lift. Now, Protector's profile, the App Store reads, quote, with the click of a button, Protector users can schedule veteran and former law enforcement private security personnel to serve as personal protection when needed. Now, the service is currently only available in New York and L.A. According to Protector, personnel are either credentialed active duty or retired law enforcement officers. As part of the service, potential users can choose the number of Escalades or similar vehicles that are part of a personalized motorcade, as well as the type of uniform that the guards wear. Uniform options include business formal, business casual, and tactical casual. Now, the cost for one guard and one car for a 5-hour duration in LA is listed as $1,000 plus an annual member fee of $129. There is a cost-splitting function that is meant to, quote, make private security accessible, which allows users to split it up with 5 people. Promotional video posted in January on the app's X account opens with footage from the murder of Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO, who was shot and killed outside of a hotel in Manhattan. The video's voiceover says, quote, now we're going to run through a scenario. If a protector had been present, crisis could have been averted.
Huh. Which one? So if you pick your dress code for your personal protector, which one are you going with?
It depends on where we're going, Brown. If we're going to the Dodgers game, I'm going to pick the
tactical casual.
Tactical casual. I know somebody that
I'm going tactical khaki.
I know somebody that is tactical casual all the time.
Then everywhere else, I think I'd want to be the middle guy.
Yeah, business casual.
Yeah, business casual.
Oh man, if I'm in a dark Escalade and going to a high end function, I'm going business formal. I mean, there's a need for all three of these dudes.
Yeah, I understand. On BOGO days, I would buy on BOGO days, and I'd get the chunky guy coming up with a cigarette and sniffing. Yeah. I'm your security guy.
Not to say this
bought
is
one, got one free today.
Not to say this is prevalent, but I did have somebody reach out to me like 15 years ago, and they had a situation and they needed somebody in private sector, so I had to hook them up with somebody. But like our buddy Clay Travis, like you never would have known that he had one of these guys with him.
And the guy was like, Clay does not need me, but they're paying me to be here.
He's paying me to be here.
Well, and Clay acted like Clay went to some other party and left his security with us.
So if I get
tactical casual, you get a dude with a polo and cargo pants.
That's right, yeah. It's tactical.
I expected more tactical
than polo and cargo pants.
Does he have his tactical boots on?
EG would not approve of those pants.
If I go tactical casual, does G-Mac come with him? Does McElroy come with him?
I was going to say, also going to break down all the blocking schemes every Saturday. That is a dead ringer, by the way.
For Kublik, I mean, we're all bald guys. We
all
look alike.
That guy looks like Cole.
Because of the muscle structure.
In the middle, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's more on the right, even though it's the same exact guy, by the way.
It is the same exact guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see Cole dressed in the tactical casual a lot. I see him in the other two.
The business casual. No, it's either a tie. I don't know. I see him in all stuff.
So, 2 Colorado men arrested for attempting to smuggle $112,000 worth of tobacco, $89,500 worth of meth into federal prison using a compressed air cannon. Now, Sheriff Stephen McCain says they weren't successful, as viewed right here by these mugshots. Quote, thanks to a very observant deputy, he was able to stop it before they were able to get the drugs into the prison. 18-year-old Jose Francisco Herrera Munez and 19-year-old Angel Gonzalez Gutierrez.
A lot of names.
Plan involved launching contraband over the prison security fence with a cannon capable of propelling items over 350 feet. Yeah. Now, this was not something that was homemade. It was bought. It was professionally manufactured, according to the sheriff's office. The arrest charging both men with attempting to introduce contraband into a penal institution and attempting to distribute methamphetamine. Quote, that much meth would have just been devastating in that population. I hate to tell them this is going to get in anyway.
Yeah, I don't. It may not come in through a gun, but it's going to get in. So Jace mentions the potato gun. Did you guys ever mess with the potato gun?
We had them at the fraternity house, and we would have potato gun fights back and forth.
Yeah. Oh. Wow, that could get out of hand right there. We took it. We had one at Indian Oaks Golf Club one time and took it down to the driving range to see who could. You got the yardage markers there, so you can see who can get the fire the potato the furthest.
That's right.
And those things, I mean,
was it a pump or were you turning it up?
This one had like.
You ever tape a hamster to the potato and shoot it out?
Yeah, we did not know. Did that happen?
No, I'm kidding.
We were never on watch list.
Dunaway, I know this is going to shock you in Calhoun County, but the one we used had a car battery attached to it. And you would like hit the electrical connector.
What did y'all fuel it with? Mountain Dew?
You would just touch the wires, boom, and it would fire the potato out. It had a little stand, like a mortar.
It seems like ours had some kind of valve that released some gas into ours to shoot ours off.
This had some. I don't know what was in it. Yeah, but this had an electrical charge involved.
You want me to take my dark turn right here?
Sure, why not?
Have you seen the Aryan Brotherhood Netflix?
No, I haven't.
So it's documentary. I only watched the first episode, but man, they got a hold of this girl and they used the old car battery.
Lance. Hard pass on. No, if Lance tapped out after one episode.
Well, I didn't tap out because of that. It was just kind of boring. Rooted in culture that values. Start
that one over, Lance.
Yeah. Rooted in a culture that values hospitality and attention to detail, Japan has long been renowned for its world-class customer service. Consumer-facing businesses go on above and beyond to ensure customer satisfaction. However, not every establishment holds these high standards, and a recent incident has revealed just how far a shop owner can go. I don't even know if this is real, Tyler, but it's very entertaining. So this is Toyojiro. We'll go with that.
Toyojiro.
Toyojiro, a Jiro-style ramen restaurant ranked second on the city's ramen database, has come under scrutiny for placing a bounty on customers' heads simply because they do bad reviews against the restaurant.
Oh, we'll kill you.
It all began when two individuals dined at this one restaurant. After leaving, one of them posted a 1-star review criticizing the store's customer service and the quality of the food. Up to this point, everything seemed normal. Negative reviews are a common occurrence. However, what happened next was anything but ordinary.
To be honest, if they are going to kill you, that is bad customer service. In the end, he's right with the 1 star.
In and of itself, a bad review, right?
The restaurant did not take the criticism lightly. In response to the review, they posted a threatening message, quote, "If you write a stupid review, we're going to find you. We're going to beat you up."
Wow.
They escalated further by publishing photos of the customers, offering cash rewards to anyone who could provide information on their whereabouts. How many lazy people around here would just be scanning that? I can find these guys
Cash
for
reward,
you.
you say, huh?
They went on to say, quote, "I saw your post. You seem a bit weird. We try not to treat people like you as customers, so it's fine. But you probably avoid eating out. Someday, someone like you will get screwed. I don't care. Just come directly and I'll deal with you. We run a planned business, so if you get in our way, we're going to get in the way of you as well."
So this is an online version, Tyler. You're probably too young to remember the old wall of shame in restaurants. So used to, if you bounced a check in a restaurant, they would put you on the wall of shame.
Yeah.
And I recently went in a Mexican restaurant that still had a wall of shame, and it had somebody's photo on there. Yeah, I don't know if they walked out without paying or bounced. You probably not bounced a check. I don't know if you can bounce a check anymore.
I feel like anybody who would use a check at a restaurant is trying to get away with getting a free lunch.
I'll tell you
there's a reason.
When you go to Florida, Bama, sometimes, and I think you guys saw it the last time we were there, they'll have a picture of someone. This person has been banned for life from the floor, Bama.
Yeah. Now you probably have got to have been banned for life 2 or 3 times from the Bama to get a photo of there.
Now on their Instagram, the restaurant posted a story offering a reward of 100,000 yen per reviewer to anyone who would provide their personal details, track them down, or take action against them. I mean, how is the law not involved with this?
I know.
I'm not sure. From what I've read, Japan's laws around like stalking and harassment are pretty light. So unless anything physically happens, the cops usually don't get involved.
Oh, so if you want to be a stalker, move to Japan.
But yeah,
No harm,
you can
no
apparently
foul
put
is what
out
they're
a
called.
$1,000 bounty per reviewer.
You could, yeah.
Well, that's what 100,000 yen is. So that's we did that.
I've just got a feeling this place is going to go out of business.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I
go
would think
rapidly.
so.
Yeah.
There's not a shortage of ramen shops in Japan.
I would imagine it's probably like burger joints in the U.S.
Yeah. Barbecue joints in the South.
Yeah.
I mean, if you would chase me down for a bad review, you probably also would spit in my food. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is not going to be good pub for this. Here is our embarrassing story of the day. A technology student is being mocked on Chinese social media for setting his dorm on fire while trying to hide his inflatable girlfriend when his roommate returned early.
Stock photo or actual inflatable girlfriend?
It's just a stock photo. I couldn't find a picture of the student, of the dorm room, or of the inflatable girlfriend.
Yeah.
So we don't even know if it was worth hiding.
This is like Wesley's booby trap stripper, right? You got the denim, you got the high boots. Is that a belly button ring on the inflatable doll?
It's a high belly button. That's what it is.
I think it's the belly button.
Yes.
Does the doll have an Audi belly button?
I
What
think
is
so,
this?
yeah. Lance is right. That is what
You got to blow her up somewhere.
Now, being caught with your pants down, one thing, but one student couldn't stand the thought of being caught with an inflatable doll, so he decided to set fire to it. Now, therein lies the problem. According to the South China Morning Post on February 10th, student enrolled at China's Hefei University of Technology thrown into a panic after his roommate returned unexpectedly. Now, rushing into the hallway, the student tried to burn the doll, but ended up triggering the campus fire alarm, filling the dormitory with flames and smoke. Now, good news, no one was harmed in the blaze. The student was disciplined and faced the wrath of the internet for the embarrassing viral ordeal.
Yeah.
He's not going to live that one down.
Probably going to have to change schools at that point.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, how hot was she? That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, if you're looking for your first or final home, our friends at Mortgage Right, they are the mortgage experts. They can help, no cost or obligation. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, final thoughts today brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken as well. Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Wonderfully priced, excellent food you get with Sterling and the crew there. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, great way to start with an appetizer. How about some fantastic Southern fried chicken that is brined overnight, cooked to order? You can't beat it. Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Why it's different having the salary cap in the NFL that's different than the salary cap or whatever they have in the NBA. If Cooper Flagg was a college football player, at $5 million for next year, there'd be a good chance he'd come back and play college football again.
Because the rookie is lower, yeah.
The rookie minimum, those 4 years. And getting to that super max contract. Cooper Flagg could get $5 million easy to come back to Duke next year. But if he goes $60 million for 4 years and he gets you on the clock to that super max deal, which changes your life even more than that. So Bleacher Report says just the economics keeps Cooper Flagg from coming back again next year.
Yeah, and real quick point on the NBA, I just saw breaking news. Victor Wembanyama is going to be out for the rest of the season with a blood clot.
Yeah, in his shoulder.
Yeah.
Which is up in the, I'm no doctor, but that's in the heart-brain region. So extreme precaution there for Wemby, and he's done for the rest of the season. Just what the NBA needed was another one of their big draws not playing when they were hurting for TV ratings. And that is our show today. We're back with you tomorrow as we get ready for a major basketball weekend for Alabama as they play host to Kentucky, trying to get right at home against Big Blue, and Auburn with Georgia, and everything else going on the countdown to madness in March. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.